I agree with Boog. I think it'll be a real long shot. But, Minnesota, they're a young team. They're a fun team. They're a confident team. I think they feel really good about themselves. So if I had to pick one, I'd pick Minnesota.
I'd have a tendency to lean that way, but I guess I'll say the Rays just for fun. They have really been able to cobble together pieces, and again, they've been the ones that push the opener idea, and they've done a good job every year catching the ball, stopping people from scoring, and get enough offensively. So I guess the Rays, but it's going to be challenging. I really like right now. To me, I think that Houston and L.A. are your two favorites, and it's pretty clear. I'm sure that if you went to the Yankees clubhouse and said that to them, they wouldn't like hearing that. But I think Houston and L.A. are the two favorites right now, pretty definitively.
And guys, real quick, it's been painful. I watched it last night. The Cubs just giving these games away. Can we get a closer? I know Kimbrel's been injured, but he wasn't very good before that. Gave it up to Yelich, and last night was a disaster after they got the lead in the top of the eighth over the Pirates. Cubs fans got to be just pulling all their hair out right now.
Yeah, I think so. And unfortunately, too late to get a closer, obviously, with only one trading deadline this year. I was stunned at some of the non-moves at the trading deadline. And we all know, Dari and Mel, how much teams are valuing their prospects, and they're so hesitant to give up their best young prospects. But when you got a chance to go for it, I think you got to go for it. And some teams just decided they weren't willing to pay the price to go out and get an elite whatever it was that they needed. And the Cubs were one of those teams. And it's going to be a dogfight. I don't know if it's going to be a pretty dogfight, but it's going to be a dogfight between those three teams in the National League Central to win that division and try to squeak into the playoffs. But it's been a disappointing year for the Cubs. Again, like the Red Sox, you look at the names on paper and you think they should be better. I wouldn't put it past them to go on a streak, but when you keep giving away games late in innings, that's a demoralizing feeling in a clubhouse.
I still think they're going to win that division. I do. I think that they're the best team of that group, and it's been a bit frustrating for them, but I think that they're going to end up getting in. I just don't think they're as good as the Dodgers.
Shambi, Shulman, on the call, Indians,
Yes.
Yankees, 12:30 Eastern. You may not hear anything as great as trout swimming upstream, but it'll be good ball anyways. God, gentlemen, we appreciate your time. Thank you,
All
both.
right. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks,
Great
guys.
job, guys. Take care, man.
There it is. All right, straight ahead. AFC West, NFC West predictions coming up. Dari and Mel continues another half hour.
The new ESPN app, now with ESPN Plus. Baseball, hockey, soccer, and college football. You want more? I hope so. Because with Plus, you get new films, shows, and docs. The new ESPN app. Download now and sign up for ESPN Plus today.
Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Okay, time out. You're gonna let your budget be the boss of you? Take control with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay for car insurance, and we'll help you find options that fit your budget. Here's some music to get you pumped. Da-dong, 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 dang, dang. I hear your budget laughing at you. Oh, wait, that's just those kids laughing at me. Ignore them! Da-dong, da-dong,
Progressive
da-dong.
Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Guys, the secret is out. If you want healthy sex, your body needs nitric oxide. And now you can boost your nitric oxide production faster than you thought possible with Ageless Male Tonight, the absurdly fast formula from the #1 brand in male enhancement. Just take one capsule an hour before romantic activity. You'll get clinically tested ingredients that rapidly boost nitric oxide production, and it won't go unnoticed. Rush to Walmart and get Ageless Male Tonight.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket,
We set up the rocket,
hit ignition, and then...
and then nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air
I've never seen anything fly so high.
and then crashed into a kite.
Look out! Look out!
And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Now there's more fun for everyone at IP. The beautiful Bayview Cafe is here, open 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can dine anytime. And meet up with friends for wine tasting at 850 Wine and Spirits. Plus, if you love sports, IP Sportsbook is where the action is. And now taking wagers. Better up.
IP Casino Resort and Spa. It's fun for everyone.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Pensacola's hometown all-sports station and home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 945. Catch all the Wahoos games home and away all season, plus all the latest Wahoos news from Chad Brillante on the Sports Drive, 5 till game time weeknights. And hey, if your business would like to partner with us as an advertiser or with a local sports promotion, then give us a call at 850-262-6000 or shoot us an email from the advertise page on ESPNpensacola.com.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
From local to national, they've got you covered. Every team, every sport, every game. Sports Call with Jordan and Davis starts now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Josh McCown makes an announcement today. He is returning to the NFL for his 17th season. Josh Gordon is going to be playing for the New England Patriots this season. The Little League World Series is underway, and college football is almost back. This is Sports Call with Jordan and Davis. Good morning, everybody. I am Davis Allen, and back from his vacation, Jordan Glass.
What's up, guys? I'm happy to be back, and it's last week I might have been chilling on a beach in Mexico, but I'm happy to be back in studio this week for my final sports call.
Slight flex.
That's right, guys. This is a sad moment for us today here at Sports Call because today is Jordan Glass's final show with us. He is moving on to bigger and better things in Mobile. In fact, I'll give you an opportunity to talk about that a little bit right now before we continue on the show.
Yeah.
What's the new gig that you have coming up?
I am going over to WNSP Sports Radio 105.5. You can hear me on the afternoons every Monday through Friday from 3 to 6, either on 105.5 on your radio, or you can also tune in at WNSP.com as well.
So when you're not listening to Sports Call, when you're not listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante or
you'll get
Coach
2
K.
good hours of me before Sports Drive starts here in the afternoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we do, even though we never want to encourage anyone to not listen to ESPN, we will encourage you to listen to our good friend Jordan Glass as he pursues his new endeavors. So, Jordan, we're excited for you. We look forward to the next big thing, and I know I'll be listening for sure.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and I'm still going to be in the area, still going to be doing some stuff with UWF as well. So, you're still going to hear me every now and then.
All right, that sounds like a plan. But in the meantime, while we still have you for this last show, we're going to talk about the NFL preseason.
Let's do it.
But first, real quick, this news came out today. Josh McCown is coming out of retirement, a very short-lived retirement, and he's signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. Without a doubt, he's going to be their backup quarterback if he even makes the roster, which I think he could. I think he could be a good veteran quarterback for that team, a good mentor for people on that team, could help mentor the younger quarterbacks, including helping Carson Wentz as he continues to grow as a quarterback, but also, most importantly, stay healthy. So if Carson Wentz were to get hurt again, you do have that experienced quarterback out of Josh McCown that could run that offense.
Yeah, and you look at it, and I know you said if Carson Wentz goes down with an injury. I think it's more so of when. He's proven to be the Ryan Tannehill 2.0. He is not, since he's been in the NFL, he cannot escape that injury bug. It's something different every single year. So it's kind of become a thing of not necessarily if, but when. So I think that when Carson Wentz goes down, having a guy like McCown on your team, not the best quarterback, but he's a veteran. He knows how to play inside the NFL. He knows how to prepare inside the NFL. Maybe not necessarily the move I would have made if I was the Eagles to have as a backup just in case Carson Wentz goes down. But it's a solid plan. It's a solid plan. You could go worse directions like maybe a Ryan Fitzpatrick.
And there was
Sanchez. Mark Sanchez.
So
yeah.
Mark Sanchez, he's already working for ESPN, and if I'm Mark Sanchez, I am forever going to just work for ESPN and try. And let's at least let the butt fumble. Hopefully, put that to bed.
Mark Sanchez, Josh McCown, like 2 months ago on this day, like he posted that he was going to work for ESPN and do other things to serve the sport. And then he came out of retirement like 2 months after that.
So it's like Jason Witten, right? He's going back to the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
And we never really spoke about that either.
That.
So I guess while we're on that note, Jason Witten's also going back to the Dallas Cowboys. But he gave up his gig doing Monday Night Football, which he did receive some criticism. Like people were saying he wasn't a good announcer, but I say give him a break. As broadcasters ourselves, give him a break.
First year in the booth, he's going to need some growing pains. Yeah,
exactly. And it's not like he was prepping every day for that moment to be Monday Night Football announcer. He was a football player who then retired and received the gig to work Monday Night Football.
I think the worst thing for him was the fact that Tony Romo was doing so well. He was doing as a broadcaster. People were looking at Tony Romo going, well, he's doing a great job as a broadcaster, and he's a former football player who's just removed from the sport, his first year as a broadcaster. But Tony Romo, I think, had a different advantage because Tony Romo watched more film. He could recognize different plays throughout different playbooks on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball as well. Wes Welker, or not Wes Welker, but I don't think Jason Witten necessarily had that side of it that Tony Romo did. So I think moving forward, I think Jason Witten's going to be able to produce for the Cowboys offense this year.
And really, Tony Romo was a pretty good fit for that job from the very get-go. First off, they put him with Jim Nantz and the CBS crew. You're not going to just put him in that major slot, which occasionally will call Super Bowls, if you weren't decent at the gig already. And also, Tony Romo starred in a couple of commercials. Like, remember those DirecTV commercials where they would say, don't go for that thing. Like, you want to go for this thing. Like, don't be mediocre. You want to have the good thing out of DirecTV. Tony Romo, along with Eli Manning, who's a pretty bad actor, I will say, Tony Romo did pretty well in those commercials. I'm surprised Peyton Manning hasn't taken on that broadcasting route. Instead, he's going into, he has his gig with ESPN where he's doing those short stories. He does those shorts with other NFL legends, and he's following them around, and he has his own little TV series. And Peyton Manning's a pretty obvious pick to make to have in the TV industry. So, and also he's pretty awesome on SNL.
He was hilarious on SNL. And did you see the thing he did on his little show that he has for ESPN where it was he was throwing footballs off the top of a building?
Oh yeah, to
Chris Carter.
Yeah. I love that episode. I mean, but it was like what? It was like 50 yards longer than what they originally did back then. Like what was it? The 1930s, I believe it was. It was a long time ago, but it was a really interesting NFL 100. It was 23 stories high, I believe.
So Josh McCown is now out of retirement, at least for right now, signing with the Philadelphia Eagles. 17 years, and this guy has played for pretty much every team in the NFL at this point. And I remember when he was the quarterback for the Buccaneers for like a minute, his daughter was going to school wearing his Buccaneers jersey, and all of her friends were wearing the jerseys of his other teams. And I thought that was cool. But there's only really only one season that I can recall Josh McCown being a really good quarterback, and that was that one good year he had with Chicago, where he came in as the backup to Jay Cutler. Remember that? Like Jay Cutler gets hurt, Josh McCown comes in, ends up doing better than Jay Cutler, which really isn't saying much, and he helps lead the Bears to the playoffs. They lose in the playoffs, but that was a solid season that he had, so now other teams were going out and about signing him. It's kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick's been in the league for a long time, played for a dozen teams or so, and he had a really good year for the Jets, and then Fitzmagic was a thing for a minute last season, and now he's with the Dolphins, and at the moment is slated to be the starting quarterback.
Well,
I don't see it lasting forever.
No, and especially the way Josh Rosen's played the first 2 preseason games. Last night threw for, I think, 102 yards. Didn't throw a touchdown, but didn't throw an interception as well. He's making smart decisions. So I think if Josh Rosen continues to play like he has through the preseason, we could get to game 1 on, September 5th for the Dolphins, and I think Josh Rosen would probably be the starter.
Okay, but is Daniel Jones going to take Eli Manning's spot, though?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, so
less than 10 games into the year.
Okay, so getting ahead, we can go ahead and do this love it or hate it now, because this was one of my love it or hate
make
it.
it one.
So Eli Manning, it was in the love it or hate it, will start every game this season.
I hate it.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. I think that Eli Manning he also had a good game last night too.
Yeah.
He made all of his passes. He threw a touchdown. And Daniel Jones, last night, he played well passing, but he fumbled the ball on a couple of occasions. But those were like okay fumbles.
Yeah,
to me, they were
yeah.
they were young rookie mistakes that you're gonna see and you want to see. You want to see a quarterback, because I'm over here saying that Daniel Jones is looking like he's going to be the future of that franchise. But give Eli Manning one more year to work, and I love it that Eli Manning can play well enough with this team. I think the Giants have an opportunity to be a good team in the future. If Daniel Jones can sit behind Eli Manning and learn for just one season, and then Eli Manning hands it off to him and lets him go and take it, then by all means. I love the fact that Eli Manning will take it for the whole year, but next season, Daniel Jones.
Now, I want to bring up something else. Because we're on rookies taking starter spots, Tariq Cohen and David Montgomery, the running backs for the Bears. Now, I don't know if y'all keep up with Dave Montgomery a lot, but at Iowa State, his 3 years playing
Good
there,
running back.
Fumbled the ball once. That's huge. That looks huge in the NFL. You fumble the ball once, that's pretty big. And so, I'm ready to see what Dave Montgomery would do. I'm going to draft him on my fantasy football team because apparently rookie running backs in fantasy football, they've done really good the past couple of years. So.
And I want to go back to the Daniel Jones conversation real quick because I think he does replace Eli Manning this year. I will say actually within less than 10 games. I think that the pressure of the New York media, Pat Shurmur's going to want to keep his job. And I think all of those things are going to combine to where if the Giants are struggling under Eli Manning, I think it's going to have to be a situation to where Shurmur is basically forced to put Daniel Jones in as the starting quarterback. And yesterday on the Sports Drive, when we were at the Cat Country Cares for Kids Radiothon, we were talking about this, and Chad asked me which of the rookie quarterbacks I thought were going to have to step up sooner than the others, and I said Daniel Jones because of the New York media, because of the situation he's in, where everybody's looking at him as being the next guy after Eli Manning. If Eli Manning struggles again this year, it's going to be, 3 or 4 straight seasons he's struggled. They're going to go, okay, we've got a guy here that you say is our future. He's playing pretty well in the preseason right now. He's struggling so far the first few games of the year. Let's try Daniel Jones, see what he can do.
No, I disagree. I think it's actually Kyler Murray, honestly, because here's why. Kyler Murray, they're already naming him as a starter automatically. He really doesn't have any, and I know New York, they have the tough fans. New York, most impatient fans in the world.
See, I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to get more of the grief at Arizona if they struggle this year than Kyler Murray will. I think Kyler Murray is going to show that he's got the talent to play inside the NFL, but if they still continue to struggle this year, I think a lot of the brunt of the blame is going to go to Cliff Kingsbury.
And we saw Kyler Murray struggle in his last preseason game. I think it was on Thursday night, went 3 for 8.
12 yards.
He did not look good, but again, didn't play most of the first half. He only played a couple of series, and that was it. But I like Kyler Murray. I like him a lot as an athlete. I think that he's going to really be him and Lamar Jackson. I'm very excited to see through the legs what they can do and have their impact on NFL defenses. The only difference is, though, Lamar Jackson's biggest weapon are his legs.
Yeah.
Yep.
His arm is still a big question mark. His accuracy has just not been good, and it dates back to last year when he was still winning football games. His legs are his biggest weapon, but what if you take out those legs? Kyler Murray can still throw the ball. He can get outside of the pocket and make accurate passes. So Kyler Murray, I'm with you. At the beginning, especially before the draft, I thought he could have a huge impact. I think we all predicted.
Yeah.
Justin, you did not predict that he'd go number 1, but you and I predicted that he'd go number 1 overall. But Daniel Jones, I think, has been showing the most surprise out of the rookies. Out of the rookies so far, he has shown the most surprise. Even though he was a 6th overall pick, he still got a lot of hate for being drafted number 6. The Giants got a lot of hate. So I think based on reaction, I'm happy to see Daniel Jones doing well. Dwayne Haskins has actually improved a lot too. But so far, Kyler Murray, I'm with you, is going to be my favorite at the moment because I'm going back to saying Eli Manning is going to start all the games next year. So I don't want to go on and then say, no, Daniel Jones is going to have the best year. Right. If I think that Eli Manning's going to start all the game.
And I want to go back real quick, and then I'll let you go to your point. With Lamar Jackson, what you were saying about him, he had that incredible touchdown run that everybody was going crazy about a few days ago in their preseason game. And I want to go back to reminding people that were seeing that and going, oh, Lamar Jackson, he might actually be a factor at the quarterback position for the Ravens this year. He's not. It's a preseason game.
Yep.
Number one players aren't going full speed in a preseason game because they don't want to get hurt. They don't want to miss out on the season. It means nothing.
Saquon hasn't played.
Exactly. So
Antonio Brown didn't play.
Yeah, when he puts a move on a guy and the guy misses the tackle, the guy's not giving full effort on that tackle anyway, so it's not going to take much effort for him to actually escape the tackle.
Yep.
All right, so we're seeing some of these rookie quarterbacks, some of these rookie players that are overall they're looking pretty solid. I don't think there's really a guy yet that I'm seeing that is looking like he's going to be that big bust, at least not right now. But also, we pay more attention to the quarterbacks, not necessarily as much the running backs or the offensive linemen, the defensive linemen. We're not really seeing that as much. We're not talking about that as much.
I want to give an honorable mention shout out Ryan Finley, 20 of 26, 150 yards.
The NC State quarterback.
Last night's win.
Good guy, too. I got to speak to him at the Senior Bowl. Like that, good guy.
Yeah, and he's actually always been one of the most accurate quarterbacks in college football. He had a 75% career completion percentage or plus. It might be around 76, 77. But he was always been a very accurate quarterback. So I'm not surprised seeing him go for 20 for 26. He might actually be a really good factor in the NFL.
And the interesting thing about this is there is bad blood there with Cincinnati and Andy Dalton. I think Cincinnati's almost to the point to where they're ready to move away from Andy Dalton. If Ryan Finley continues to play like this, we could see Ryan Finley. We're talking about Daniel Jones taking over for Eli. We could see Ryan Finley take over for Andy Dalton halfway through the year.
And it's possible. I think that Ryan Finley, if he continues to play well, and the hot seat has been under not Ryan Finley, but Andy Dalton for the last 3 seasons or so, and he's been getting injured. Jeff Driscoll played a good amount of the year last year, former Gator quarterback. You know what? Ryan Finley continues to play well. Very much so. Could see Ryan Finley becoming the next starting quarterback of the Bengals. I think he is in a very good spot with the Bengals right now. He went to a team that has a lot of questions at quarterback. So I think Ryan Finley is with the right team at the right time.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for them to cut people right now, so because they still need a lot of.
Right. Real quick though, before we go to break, I do want to bring up this very quick because we also want to talk about Josh Gordon getting reinstated. But Antonio Brown losing his grievance with the NFL over his helmet. We talked about this last week on Sports Call, how he's being a huge baby and drama queen. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that the NFL very quickly said, no, you're not going to win this one. We're not going to cater to your needs. Frankly, you're a good receiver, but you're not that special to where we're going to change our policies for you, because then that means we have to change our policies for everything else. Because they basically said, Antonio Brown, we dare you to retire. And then he comes back with saying, I can't wait to get back with my teammates. I'm not happy with the result, but I'm going to find the helmet that works for me, and I'm excited to get back to work.
I think this is stupidity by Antonio Brown. And I say it's stupidity. I'm not calling him stupid. I say this is stupidity because it's not like it's customized cleats we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not like it's an armband or a wristband or something like that. This is a helmet that protects your head. The reason the NFL has guidelines and you can only use certain helmets is because those certain helmets are the ones that pass their safety protocol tests. The one that he wants to wear is 10 years old. That's definitely not going to pass the up-to-date safety protocols that the NFL has. So it's a safety thing, and the NFL is looking out for his safety, and he wanted to fight them on this, and it's just pure stupidity on his part.
But Will Cain even said the biggest problem with Antonio Brown's not the NFL, not the Raiders, not the helmet, it's Antonio Brown.
Yeah,
that's the biggest problem is Antonio Brown. So Antonio Brown, in my eyes, has a problem with not being able to stay out of the spotlight. Mm-hmm. He has to stay in it somehow, some way. And it's not by him making great plays. It's not by him scoring touchdowns. It's him saying and doing something. And it's ridiculous now. It's not entertaining. It's dumb. Because, I was never really a football player growing up. I was a baseball player, but I would kill to be a professional athlete. I think most of us would kill to be a professional athlete, but instead we actually get the luxury of pursuing radio careers, being broadcasters, which was the next thing I wanted to pursue. Many kids out there would kill to have even an opportunity like the guy from Cleveland, Sheehy Giuseppe, who talked his way into a tryout, who stopped at nothing to have this opportunity. He's not Antonio Brown and holding this attitude.
He pulled the Wesley Snipes Major League on a tryout. He just showed up and was like, "I'm here to try out."
Yeah,
guys.
He just showed up, and they forced him to give him they forced him to give him a try because they saw the talent. It literally is Wesley Snipes from Major League.
It literally is.
But yeah, I think with Antonio Brown, I agree with what Davis and Will Kane said. It's Antonio Brown is his biggest problem. And from somebody who's been in a football locker room, guys like that are not well received. They're not well liked in a locker room. And he continues this behavior. It's only going to be a matter of time before we see him leaving Oakland because nobody on that team is going to want to deal with him.
But shout out to John Gruden. The whole process, no matter how annoying Antonio Brown has been to us, John Gruden's had his back the whole way.
John Gruden is just John Gruden. If you're a player on his team, he's going to have your back, and that's just how he is as a person. I think that's why a lot of players love to play for him.
All right, ESPN Pensacola 94.5, 972-1945 if you want to check out the program. Also, you can check us out on Facebook and YouTube Live. You can watch the show live as it is going on. You can also text that same exact number, 972-1945, if you have a comment and want to be a part of the show. It's starting to get a little late in the segment, so we will take a break. But when we come back, Josh Gordon of the New England Patriots has been reinstated. Last season, he left the team, and then it came out that he failed a drug test, which has been a thing for Josh Gordon that has kept him out of the league for many seasons. Well, he's eligible to come back right away, and we'll talk about that right here on Sports Call with Jordan Davis on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Bands on the Beach. Every Tuesday night, the sugar white sands of Pensacola Beach turn into your personal dance floor with cool grooves and hot tunes. So grab a towel, grab a chair, grab a cooler, and skip the Netflix binge watching and live a little. Bands on the Beach, brought to you by the Santa Rosa Island Authority.
This Tuesday, it's Crosstown. They've been around a long time, and they play all of your favorites, everything from rock to country and everything in between.
Catch Cat Country every Tuesday night at Bands on the Beach.
Every home run. There's a swing and a drive out to left. Pache at the track, at the wall. It is gone! Every strikeout. Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike three. Whether they're home or away, every minute of every Blue Wahoos game. And the ball game is over with one of the greatest comebacks in the history of this Wahoos franchise. This is the home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
What do I cherish? Precious moments watching Dad read to my little Eric. That's why I'm so grateful I insisted on an eye exam when I noticed him struggling with the words on the page. We found out Dad has age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. Luckily, the doctor caught it in time for treatment, so Dad can still read. Protect yourself and your loved ones. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-254-6552 for a free packet on preventing and managing AMD. That's 1-800-254-6552.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golick and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
So Josh Gordon gets reinstated by Commissioner Roger Goodell. He is back playing for the New England Patriots, eligible for the regular season. Will we see him during the preseason? I would think so. I know he's definitely getting back into it, and he's back. Is this good for football? Now, this is a big question, and Former head coach Jack Del Rio, the father of former Gator quarterback Luke Del Rio, he's saying he's shocked that he was reinstated. Now, I'm
shocked somebody with the last name Del Rio has something to say.
I will say, though, I know you're shocked that Del Rio has something to say about this. I tend to agree with Jack Del Rio.
I do, too.
I'm shocked because, okay, so there was multiple years in a row where Josh Gordon would get drug tested and he would fail the drug test, and this eventually led to him getting suspended for an entire season from the NFL. And this is, again, on top of multiple suspensions. There was a period where he was out of the league for multiple seasons because of his issues with failing drug tests, with marijuana, cocaine, Xanax. One occasion, alcohol was a big issue when Johnny Manziel played for the Cleveland Browns, and those two hung out all the time. That contributed to the issues, as well as Johnny Manziel, and now we all see what he's doing. Well, really nothing. Maybe the XFL, we'll see. But Josh Gordon, it was announced yesterday, has been reinstated on a conditional basis. I am shocked, but then again, and I've said this numerous times on air, I am never going to root against somebody as they're on their path to recovery, as they're on their path to making better decisions. But we have seen this numerous times. He left the team last year due to personal issues. Well, following that, we find out he failed a drug test, and he's out. My biggest question is, why was he reinstated? That to me, I would have a hard time reinstating him for this season.
I agree with you. I am shocked as well, and I do think Coach Del Rio does have a point there with being shocked about why he was reinstated. I think this is a situation with a guy who, as you said, Davis, has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to get back on the right track and to focus on his NFL career, and he's failed to do that. Eventually, the NFL said, "Look, we've got no other option but to suspend you indefinitely." I think he was allowed back into the NFL because of the team he's going to be playing for, because of the coaching staff. I think it's because it's the Patriots. If there's going to be a coach, if there's going to be a coaching staff, if there's going to be a leader on a team like Tom Brady that is going to get Josh Gordon on the right track, it's going to be the New England Patriots. If he was playing for Matt LaFleur and the Green Bay Packers, I think he's still suspended. I think because he's a part of this Patriots team, that's probably what led to him being reinstated. Now, as far as him playing, I actually don't think we see him in the preseason. I think what we see from him is probably going to be he's going to be active, and I think it's a conditional reinstatement. And I think part of that condition is he can be on the sideline for games during the preseason, but he can't play in them. He can't be dressed out with the team. He can be at the facilities and work out and practice, but he can't participate in preseason. Once the regular season gets here, he can play. But I don't even think we see him then. I think it's going to be a few weeks before Belichick lets him on the field.
Well, you could tell that there was definitely a difference between him getting suspended last year and in years past. In the years past, it was just suspension after suspension after suspension. You started to lose sympathy for him, especially as an outsider who doesn't know him personally. Now, this one was different because there seemed to be more tied into it. There was more personal issues also tied into this one as well. And he also seemed to have taken a lot of accountability for his actions. And he applied for reinstatement last week. It was granted, and it was only going to be granted by Roger Goodell. There was no board tied into this, Roger Goodell. And this is what he had to say. He said, we're all rooting for Josh to succeed, both personally and professionally. Everyone shares in that hope and will continue to support him to every extent possible. But his success is up to him.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
And I agree with that. I also agree that, like I had said before, I'm going to support him in his road to recovery. I would love if sobriety is his big goal, I'm going to support anybody in their road to sobriety. I again go back to the multiple suspensions before. I'm very surprised that he is eligible to play this season. By the way, he is eligible to play in the preseason.
Okay.
But due to his condition, due to his lack of practice, lack of conditioning during the offseason, they're going to wait a little while till he gets back in shape.
Makes sense, yeah.
I don't see him. I see him maybe playing the final preseason game as a tune-up game, and then we'll see him in the regular season. So he's not. It's already said that he's not expected to play in the next preseason game, which is next Thursday. I would maybe expect him to play in the final preseason game as a tune-up, but we should see him in the regular season. But again, I am still very surprised that he was eligible to play this season. He was eligible to be reinstated. I'm surprised that they allowed him to play this season.
Here's the million-dollar question if you're Bill Belichick. Do you automatically, when he's back, when he's ready to play and he's in playing shape, do you put him with the number one crew?
I think he will. I think because they need, dude. They are hurting at the receiver position right now.
Yeah. They are.
And Josh Gordon, even though he didn't really have that great of a season last year, he's still a good receiver.
Right.
And for this depleted wide receiver core for the New England Patriots, he is still going to add something to that team that is lacking a receiving core. So if you could have a guy like Josh Gordon on your team, of course you're going to take that guy. And Bill Belichick, he is not we're going to continue to sit him out because of these issues that he's had. No, if he's on the team, he's going to play.
I'm not saying sit him out. I'm just saying maybe use him with the second group of receivers that would go into the game instead of putting him with the first, and kind of give him a thing of, you're going to have to prove to me that you earned that spot with the number one group as a starter for this team. You're going to have to take a couple of drug tests, pass those, and then we'll see how you're playing on the field, and you can move up into that number one spot. I think Belichick is going to be very cautious with him, and I think that we'll see him playing, and obviously, like you said, they're going to need him to step up and play because they don't have anybody really at that receiving position. So I think that we're going to see him play, but it's going to be very limited at first because Belichick is not going to just throw him out there after everything that's happened. I think, like I said, if there's a coaching staff, if there's a team that's going to get him on the right track, it's going to be the New England Patriots. They're going to handle this the right way. It's not just going to be, we need help, let's throw him out there. It's going to be, we need help, but this guy also needs help. We also need to let this guy know that the rules are a little bit different now. You've had time after time after time after time, and you failed every single time. You've got to pass this time, or there's no other options for you.
So coming up later in the show, Justin and I are going to be breaking down our perfect fantasy football roster because tomorrow I'm in 2 leagues, and tomorrow I'm going to be drafting in my first league, and the furthest I've ever gotten is the championship game, and in both I'm 0 for 2 for championship games. I have never been a league champion. So every year, especially if you're serious about fantasy football, you want to draft the perfect team, at least the team that you think it is. I'm telling you right now, Josh Gordon's not going to be on that team. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I'm not putting Josh Gordon on my team because now, outside of the suspension, look, he's going to be reinstated officially tomorrow. Tomorrow is when he is back on the Patriots roster. Is Josh Gordon even going to still be that same player? Because I go back to when Josh McCown, he had that one good year for the Chicago Bears, and it seems like people have still been chasing that dragon. Same with Fitzmagic. Fitzmagic's a thing, so that kind of buys you another year or two in the NFL.
Yeah, those 4 games with Tampa last year are why he's with the Dolphins right now. Let's be honest about that.
So the 2012 season for Josh Gordon, when he led the league, when he was the best receiver in the league, teams have been chasing that Josh Gordon ever since, and because he keeps getting suspended, we're not really seeing him playing bad football. Instead, we're just seeing him get suspended. So is Josh Gordon even 2012 Josh Gordon? I'm going to go ahead and hit you with a hell no.
No, absolutely not. No, he's gotten older, and look, even though he hasn't been playing, he's probably still been working out. There's probably still some wear and tear on his body. He's not going to be the type of receiver that we saw, back when he was actually playing before he got all the suspensions. But I still think he's going to be a guy that is going to be good enough to help out that receiving core for the New England Patriots.
Which is why I think he'll still be a starter. I think he'll still be a starter because they don't really have many other receivers. And as I speak out loud, I'm trying to think. You lose Gronkowski, who was your big receiver. You signed the guy who played for the Saints last year. Oh, man.
Brandon Cooks?
Not Cooks.
Who am I thinking of?
The guy he played for, he's a very, very good guy, very well-spoken guy, but he announced his retirement after the Saints, but then he signs with the Patriots after Gronkowski retires, and now he's suspended 4 games. So he's not going to be a target for at least 4 games. You're continuing to lose talent.
They do have Demaryius Thomas.
They signed Demaryius Thomas, who, by the way, hasn't really been much since the Broncos, since Peyton Manning years. And Tim Tebow, by the way.
Yeah, and to be fair for Demaryius Thomas on that, he hasn't really had a quarterback since Peyton Manning. So, I mean, it's been kind of one of those things to where we look at him and go, well, is his career on the decline? Well, we also have to look at the fact that he hasn't had that great of a quarterback throwing him the football, so that may be why his numbers tailed off. Let's see how he does with a guy like Tom Brady this year.
And I think he could flourish.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think he could be a big target for them. Really, running backs and receivers seem to be a big thing for the Patriots. It doesn't matter who the running back is for the Patriots. It's usually a good running. They usually end up having a good season. Like LeGarrette Blount was a wonderful running back. Sony Michel, Great pick. James White, he scored the game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. These are guys who, except Sony Michel was a first-round pick, they tend to take guys who weren't heavily recruited, smaller recruited players, and they turn them into big-time players because they just have a system that works for them.
And I think Demaryius Thomas is going to be Randy Moss 2.0. Not that Demaryius Thomas has gone through the off-the-field and issues that kind of were a red flag with Randy Moss before he went to the Patriots, but I think with you, when you see what Randy Moss did with his career was on a little bit of a downtrend. He goes to the Patriots and has some of the best years of his career with Tom Brady. So I think that's exactly what we're going to see with Demaryius Thomas. So I think this is going to be Tom Brady's next Randy Moss hookup, and we saw that be very successful for the New England Patriots.
Am I going to root for Josh Gordon as a fan, as a person? Yes, I am going to root for Josh Gordon. Do I think he's going to have a major impact on that Patriots offense? I'm inclined to say no, but part of me hopes I'm wrong, but then the other part of me is like, dude, I'm not a Patriots fan.
Yeah, and look, I think as far as the way they're going to use Josh Gordon in that offense, I think Josh Gordon's going to be the short-term guy or the short route guy. Demaryius Thomas is going to be their long route guy. So they're going to have a guy that can, work on the top of the defense and also a guy that can work on underneath with some speed with Josh Gordon. So I think that Belichick and this New England Patriots coaching staff will put them in the right places to where they can have success. Because, going back to, and I'm probably going to make Florida fans cringe when I say this, but going back to what Jim McElwain said when he first took the Florida job, he said, look, I could put my dog Clarabelle up at the quarterback position and we could win. That's more what Bill Belichick does more than what Jim McElwain does. It doesn't matter who Bill Belichick lines up. They always seem to find success because he puts them in the right spot for them to be successful. So wherever Josh Gordon ends up on the field for the Patriots, it's going to be the best spot for him.
I will give a shout-out to Jim McElwain. He is a head coach again at Central Michigan.
Yeah.
So, and the players love him.
Yeah.
The players love him, and they can't wait for him to be their head coach.
And that's the spot he should be at. That's his realm.
He flourished at Colorado State.
Yeah.
And I am curious to see what he'll do at Central Michigan, that is for sure. Although he shouldn't say he should put his dog Clarabelle at the quarterback position because our quarterbacks did not play well for you, Jim. They really didn't play well for you at all. So when we come back from this timeout, the Little League World Series is going on in South Williamsport, Pennsylvania. I played Little League Baseball. Justin, wait, did you play Little League Baseball? Like, you played in the Little League? I know your brother made it as far as the regional finals for the Southeast region. He was one win away from making it to Little League World Series.
The team that beat him came out of Texas. They won the whole thing. They beat Japan in the World Series final.
So the Little League World Series is going on, and a good friend of our show, Justin, is going. Former intern Justin, is going to be joining us. He has some negative feelings about the Little League World Series and about Little League in general. So we'll have him a part of the show.
On the kids.
And it looks like we're going to have a little bit of fun debating each other. Okay. That's all coming up next on Sports Call with Jordan Davis on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
Have you ever wondered if that review you're reading is from an actual customer? When you search for businesses at bbb.org, Better Business Bureau makes sure every review you see is from a real customer. For over 100 years, BBB has been connecting consumers to good businesses. So if you're looking for a good business, look for the seal. Start your search at bbb.org. Start with trust. bbb.org.
Hi, I'm Matt Kenseth. You don't have to be a race car driver to know that life can be full of drama. Some of it you can't control, like mechanical issues, high winds, and rain delays. But there's some drama you can skip.
Skip the drama that comes with not having your high school diploma or equivalency. Find free adult education classes near you and finish your diploma. Visit finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org.
You just need to take that first step and find free classes near you and leave the drama for the racetrack.
Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ed Council.
What if people had a battery level icon? Like on your phone? You'd see a lot of us in need of a recharge. Thank goodness there's 5-Hour Energy. Because just one sugar-free, vitamin-packed 5-Hour Energy shot can get you all the way back to 100% fast. And isn't life better at 100%? 5-Hour Energy. Get back to 100%. For more information, visit 5hourenergy.com.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, 972-1945. That's the phone number if you want to be a part of the conversation. And also, you can watch us live from Facebook Live on the ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. And you can also go to YouTube TV and watch us through the YouTube ESPN Pensacola page. So the Little League World Series is currently underway in South Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And I played Little League Baseball growing up in Tampa, Florida. Justin has a brother, his older brother. As a matter of fact, when growing up in West Virginia, played in the Southeast Regional Finals, which actually was right down the street from where I went to school. I could have walked to go see this game if I wanted to. I grew up right down the street from where the regional finals were played in St. Petersburg, Florida. They're now played. The Southeast Regional Championships are now played in Warner Robins, Georgia. But Little League has always had a big impact on my life. Now, we were just in conversation talking about the Little League World Series. Our very own Justin Raley, former intern Justin, made the comment that he doesn't think that Little League is real baseball. We now welcome to the line our own Justin Raley. Justin, first off, it's sad not having you in the studio, man.
I know, man. I miss you guys.
We miss you too, but we know you're going to go off to school. And by the way, in case you didn't know, Justin's a college baseball player at Huntington College, so he's going to be going back to go play some baseball. And then he'll be hanging out with us in the off season. We'll welcome him back. It's all good. But in the meantime, he's off to go play baseball at the collegiate level, something that I sure didn't get to do. And Justin, our other Justin here, he played high school baseball with you. He's not playing ball either. He's going to go to school and pursue the radio route. But in the meantime, you're saying that Little League is not real baseball. So first off, I would like for you to go ahead and explain why it is you feel that way.
All right, so I have multiple reasons why I dislike Little League Baseball, and it's not that I don't like the atmosphere and the fact that the kids are getting to be on TV and have a whole lot of fun, but the problem I have is they're 12, sometimes they're 13-year-olds, and to start off, my first point is they're playing on fields that are, and in fact, I pulled it up, their base paths are 60 feet with a pitching distance of 46 feet, and they're not allowed to lead off or steal. Now, I also went to the trouble to look in. I did not get a chance to play Little League Baseball like official Little League because there is no team close to this area. So I played travel baseball like a lot of kids in this area. And the 12U regulations and the 13U regulations for USSSA are 50-foot mounds for 12, 54 for 13, and 70-foot bases for 12, and 80-foot for 13. So you're getting a little bit more of a bigger baseball field, getting you ready for that high school level. You're playing on bigger fences so you don't pop it up and it goes over the fence, and you can lead off and steal like real baseball should. I understand maybe at a 9U level kind of keeping that under control because they can steal at will. And if someone is umpire in the 9U game, it's brutal because they steal every pitch. But, at that age, they can throw people out. They can play real baseball. And my first point is that they're not playing on a size field fit for their ages. They're playing on fields that 9 and 10-year-olds should be playing on.
So what Little League, or not Little League, so I played Little League ball, but what leagues did you play for growing up?
I never played in a league. I played in a Well, I played in a small league as a 9-year-old at Para and Pace, but then after that I played travel ball until high school. So USSSA, travel baseball, the usual.
And I know around here, when it comes to little leagues, the only one I could think of that is nearby here, and I could be wrong, there could be one closer, but the only one that pops up in my mind where there's a little league is in Fort Walton. Fort Walton, I saw the little league sign, and I just remember thinking to myself, dude, it's a little league. But there's no real little leagues in this general area. And now growing up...
What's the problem, man?
Yeah, so here...
I would play it. I would have played it.
So here, growing up, if I grew up here, that I wouldn't be a little leaguer. I would have been... I think Babe Ruth was still a thing, but USSSA is now the big thing. UTRIP is the big thing around here. The Gulf Breeze Rec Center, they have it there. Tiger Point, keeping it in Gulf Breeze, I know they have it there. I bring that up because I went to high school over there, and I also coached a travel team for the Wave, the Wave organization. We were based out of Gulf Breeze, but we were just known as the Wave organization. So we were USSSA. That's a big league around here. Growing up in St. Petersburg and the Tampa area, my first league was Fossil Park Little League. That's where I played coach pitch ball and where I played my first bits of kids pitching to one another ball. And then when I moved to Tampa, I played at East Bay Little League, located just outside of Tampa in Gibsonton, Florida. That's where I played. My 11-year-old, 12-year-old. I don't think I was at the age where I was 13. And I was still playing on the smaller field. Because at 13 years old, after a certain date, you move up to the big field, the high school-sized fields, where you run 90 feet, where you run, you lead off, you steal, you do all that stuff. And I'll also say you can steal in the small field Little League, but it's kind of bad. Like, you have to wait until the ball crosses the plate, which you're pretty much going to get hosed every time if the catcher is somewhat decent. So no one really steals in the Little League because they make it very difficult for you to steal. But anyways, here's why I think Little League, at the way you see it on TV, is perfect. One, without Little League baseball starting in the 1940s, you wouldn't have had Little League baseball. You wouldn't have had youth baseball. It probably would have come at a different date, a later date. But youth baseball stems from Little League baseball. That's one. Two, we use smaller bats. In the USSSA, kids use the big barrels. The drop 12s with the fatter barrels. They're about 28, 29 inches long, depending on the size of the kid. Maybe one kid had a 30-inch bat, but for the most part, the bats are fatter. You do have bigger fields, so it can work. But in Little League baseball, you use the smaller barrel bats, and in turn, they could be also a little bit lighter. There's two. Yes, the base paths are smaller, which makes it easier for you, or possibly even harder for you to get thrown out, depending on your speed. But because the field is smaller, the player has a better chance at throwing you out from the closer distance. They kind of work itself out. One thing that I will say that Little League is doing a little bit better with is that they are acknowledging that, okay, these kids are getting bigger and stronger, especially when you make it to the Little League World Series. The fences used to be about 200 feet on average, but now they've pushed them back to about 225 and possibly going to push back even further because these kids are, like I said, getting bigger and stronger and hitting the ball further. So I see that the field may seem like it's too small. I think Little League is acknowledging that at this point. So they're making those slight adjustments. But I think Little League is a great sport, is a great form of baseball. I don't think it's not real baseball. In fact, I think it is where your version of baseball even came from. People decide, you know what, we think baseball could be a little bit more different. We'll try it this way. And all the power to those leagues. I coached in one of those leagues. Great kids. The home runs can fly. But Little League baseball, to me, has always had a special place in my heart. And also, it is so exciting to watch, especially when you make it to the Little League World Series level, a place where I never even got close to. And the leagues that you played in, yeah, you have your form of Little League, but it doesn't get anywhere near the recognition. As a matter of fact, when I went to Our Savior Lutheran in St. Pete, I had some kids who were a few grades below me come to school in medals one day because they won the USSSA World Series out of the Northeast St. Pete League in St. Petersburg. So I acknowledge that your form of baseball growing up is still baseball, but doesn't really get anywhere near the recognition, and I think have a hard time believing it will ever have the popularity of Little League Baseball. So therefore, in my opinion, Little League Baseball will always be real baseball.
All right, I've got two things, and I can agree that it's a great film. I love it on TV. I understand that. It's a great atmosphere for the kids. But two things I have. I kind of want you guys' opinion on this before I go to my final big hitter that I can't stand about it.
Sure thing.
You saw the story about the coach getting in trouble for stealing signs. So, like, the runner at second would steal signs from a catcher. That's actually a rule in Little League that you cannot do.
You cannot
I have a
do
huge
that.
problem with that.
You're right.
I think that's a joke. I think it's.
I was going to say you're right.
Time.
In the majors, that's a frowned upon thing, but it's one of the unwritten rules of baseball. If you do it in the majors, you're going to get a ball in your head. In Little League, it actually is a rule. You cannot steal signs. So yes, I agree. That is a real rule, and it's not really enforced either.
It's not. Yeah, I don't think the coach got in any trouble anyway. I think he lost, so it didn't really matter. But I still have a problem with that. I mean, it's baseball. If I am smart enough to pick up your signs and steal them, I should have every right to that. I don't understand why you can tell me that I can't steal signs. That's a joke.
I think, well, again, go back to the big leagues, or even at the college and high school level, even though it is not a rule, it's known as an unwritten rule, it's still one of those things where in a real game, Justin, are you going to try and steal a catcher's sign from the pitcher and not expect you to get plunked in the end?
Well, and I'm not saying that the runner at second base should be looking at the catcher. Yeah, that's a little bush league. I understand that, but it shouldn't be a rule against it. Now, I'm talking more stealing signs is as in taking it from the coach. If I can pick up his sign, I'm going to relay it. If I can pick up a pitcher sign from a coach in the dugout who's relaying pitches, we do that all the time. We pick up signs, dude. That's people's job in the dugout is to pick up signs and relay it to hitters. I mean, come on.
Oh, I remember one time I was coaching freshman ball at Gulf Breeze, and I was giving a sign, and the team had been paying attention to me, and right when I gave the sign, the guy was like, he's going to steal, he's going to steal. And I remember in my mind, I was like, crap. I was like, they
yeah,
totally
you don't
got
do
the
it
sign.
like that,
So then I went
like
back to the dugout.
A word or...
Do what?
I said, you don't do it that obvious. I mean, you shouldn't do it that obvious. If I catch your signs, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to send like a first name, last name code or, something like of that nature.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really think that stealing a coach's sign is more common, but meaning if you're on base and you're relaying to your batter, hey, he's about to throw you a curveball, he's about to throw it outside, he's about to do this, just relaying signs, that in itself has always been the rule that you don't want to see. And especially at the bigger levels, you get a ball thrown at you at the end because that's, it's an unwritten rule as they put it in the bigger leagues.
Yeah, it's unwritten. I agree with that. But, I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it. There shouldn't be a rule against it, but you should be able to accept your consequences, whether it be a swift tag in the helmet or a baseball to the ribs. You should take your consequences. But, again, if someone's taking my signs from second base, I should be smart enough or a coach should pick that up. Somebody should be able to, hey, let's change signs. I mean, let's not just give one. Let's do something a little different with our sequences here. But my last point, and that's not really a point, it's just something that I can't stand. And I've actually seen a lot more on Twitter this year where people have had a problem with it, is the high-fiving players as they're going around after they hit a home run. First of all, let's start with this problem. If I'm a pitcher and I give up a homer on national TV and I turn around and my teammates are giving this guy a high five around the bases, oh, my God, we're going to have a problem. And then even worse, on one of these videos, the pitcher gave the kid a high five.
And that's actually common.
Kid, I'm taking him off the field, and we're going home. That's not sportsmanship. Like, I understand sportsmanship, what they're trying to do, but that's not sportsmanship. That's just creating. I can't stand that. That's just taking away competition, man. We're not friends on a ball field. We can be friends, but we're not. Hey, you hit a home run off of me. Great job, buddy. And I can tell you that after the game. But during the game, you run around the bases. I am not giving you a high five for taking me 420 deep center field.
On that note, especially with Little League Baseball, you do see that. A kid will hit a home run, and we're now losing 14-0, and yet I see kids giving the kid who just hit a home run high fives. The positive side is that it's promoting sportsmanship in the game. It's promoting, despite us being quote-unquote enemies, I suppose, like we are still congratulating one another. I will say I actually agree with you on that. I like how they're taking that and they're twisting it as a positive message. But the reality is, if I'm a coach of that team, now I may not jump on the player and pull him from the game, but I will say, hey man, so I know you gave that kid a high five, but how did that home run against you feel? Like, yeah, that wasn't good, was it? So I actually agree. I agree with you on that note, but I also see what ESPN is doing with that, and they're spinning it as that's good sportsmanship. That's how you should treat that.
I want to jump in on this because with what Davis is saying with sportsmanship, here's the thing with this is, though, at the end, what do? One team lines up on third base, the other one lines up on first base. They walk across the field,
they high five each other.
That's your moment of sportsmanship, not during the game.
That is your time.
Yeah.
And so,
Thank you. That's exactly how I feel. And it's not. And here's my biggest issue too: is it's not. You'll catch every now and then someone say, well, they do it in all leagues. No, they don't. It's only on this. I can see it on Little League, as in like maybe the Little League World Series, and maybe they do it throughout Little League there. But as a guy who umpires travel ball at a new trip all the time, I have never seen one kid give another kid a high five after taking him deep, or a teammate or an opposing team member do it. Your time for sportsmanship is when you line up, shake hands at the end of the game. It is not during the game when you just gave up a home run. I agree, Jordan, 100%.
And especially at the Little League World Series level where you've come this far and you have the opportunity, you already are one of the best teams in the world. Like, you make it there, you are one of the best teams in the world. You're the best in your state, you're the best in your region. You have the opportunity to be not only the best in your country, but the best in the world. But I do actually agree. Every time I see the kids high-five each other, a part of me dies inside because there's the competitive side of me that, I don't hate the kid for hitting a home run off of me. If anything, hey, tip my cap to you. You got the best of me this time. But mentally, I'll acknowledge that. Mentally, if anything, I'll give you a little high five. Hey, man, you got the best of me this time, but I'm striking you out next time. That's my thoughts. I'm not going to go over there and give the kid a high five. But, Justin, we are running short on time. But real quick, I do want to at least give you a moment to at least talk about the impact that youth baseball has had on your life.
Well, man, I honestly, I never got the chance to play in the Little League, exactly Little League like you see on TV. Would I have if it had been in this area? Because Fort Walton Beach Little League wasn't there when I was growing up, and I would have loved to play it just to get to the chance to go to Williamsport. But as far as travel ball, man, I have some of my greatest friends and memories from that. I mean, just the playing from 9 years old until high school when we all kind of split up and went our separate ways to high school. Just that time every weekend to be bonding with one another. The times in the hotel, man, just horsing around, the times on the field, just it's the best, man. You can't beat it. You grow brothers, man. You get brothers from that kind of stuff, and it's something I'm forever grateful for, and I hope that it's something I can get my kids to enjoy one day.
Yeah, and despite if I have kids that play and I want them to play baseball, I hope they can play baseball. I certainly hope they can play Little League ball, but if not Little League, U-Trip, whatever, youth baseball has had such an impact on my life. Some of my best baseball memories come from that time. I had the most fun. I had some of my best friends came from baseball, and I'll never forget my experience as a Little Leaguer. And for you, as a guy who played U-Trip, Babe Ruth, it doesn't matter. The youth baseball aspect of it all had such a big impact on my life. So I think we can at least agree on that. But I will never agree with you on Little League baseball is not a real baseball. But either way, man.
That's fine. We can disagree on it.
Hey, man, good luck this season in college ball. You're always welcome to be back on the show whenever you want. Justin Raley,
I appreciate it.
One of the best interns ESPN Pensacola has ever had. Sorry, other Justin across from me. Good luck this season, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Hopefully soon.
All right, 972-1945. And speaking of Little League Baseball World Series, the next game's about to be starting here in about 5 minutes on ESPN. And when we come back, love it or hate it. It's all coming up on Sports Drive with Sports Call. You can listen to Sports Drive Monday through Friday, 5 to 7. But Sports Call with Jordan and Davis on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
There's only one natural ingredient that could instantly shift your mood, help you focus, lower stress, and boost your self-confidence. It's available everywhere, works immediately, is affordable, and can change the quality of your life forever. It's called playing music.
Side effects include restless foot syndrome, spontaneous undulation, and can be highly contagious. If a smile doesn't last for more than 4 hours, consult your nearest music store.
Just play. Your prescription to a better life. Brought to you by the NAM Foundation.
ESPN radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Pensacola is loaded with famous athletes, and when it comes to seeing a chiropractor for their sports injuries, there is one team they trust, Doctors Edwin Roberts. A family tradition for 3 generations, Doctors Edwin Roberts Chiropractic, next to Legendary Fitness on Mobile Highway, has helped champion athletes like Emmett Smith and Trent Richardson. Doctors Roberts specialize in relieving auto accident pain to physicals for the student athlete. The best treatment for sports injuries is prevention. Call 912-4155 for a free consultation and change your life forever.
I'm really hungry, but I don't want to spend a fortune.
Well, you're in luck. Now you can get Denny's Super Slam with 2 eggs, 2 bacon strips, 2 sausage links, hash browns, and 2 pancakes, all for just $5.99.
That is a great deal. So I get all of that for just $5.99?
You sure do.
Wow, this meal just keeps getting better and better.
Some might say super.
I see what you did there.
The $5.99 Super Slam is back. See you at Denny's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. No substitutions.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5, one of the best times of the show. It's time to love it or hate it, and we're in a rush. So, Justin, get us started.
All right, let's start off with college football. Jalen Hurts will be the most rooted for player in college football.
I love it.
I love it. Good guy. Showed a lot of courage at Alabama. A lot of class.
How could you not, man? How could you not? I love it. There will be a player with 50 home runs this season in the MLB.
I love it.
Mike Trout, Cody Bellinger at least.
Yeah.
I shoot.
So I have multiple.
I'm aiming for Pete Alonso to break the rookie home run record for 52. So, yeah, that's what I got. Alabama versus Oklahoma National Championship, a.k.a. Tua versus Jalen would be epic.
I mean, yeah, it would be kind of cool, but no way it's happening. I hate it.
It would be epic. Jalen's final message to Tua was, "I'll see you in the playoffs." Not happening.
I love it, though.
All right, we have more coming up right after the edge of this break. We also have a farewell to give. That's all coming up right here on Sports Call with Jordan Davis.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola. Every home run.
There's a swing and a drive out to left. Pache at the track, at the wall. It is gone!
Every strikeout.
Here comes the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3.
Whether they're home or away, every minute of every Blue Wahoos game.
And the ball game is over with one of the greatest comebacks in the history of this Wahoos franchise.
This is the home of the Blue Wahoos, ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup.
Your idea of a different look is sunglasses.
That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level.
Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in.
Or chill out in front of a big flat screen like Wingo would.
Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting.
Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites.
Book now at LQ.com.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 94.5 contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes on ESPN Pensacola 94.5 are non-transferable, non-redeemable in cash, nor exchangeable for any other prize. ESPN Pensacola 94.5 prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning, and you must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Are you paying too much for term life insurance? There's a tremendous price war among the major term life companies, and rates have dropped dramatically in the past few years. For example, for a man age 45 non-tobacco user, it's $1 million of coverage at $75 per month, level rate for the next 10 years. Or a man age 50 non-tobacco user can obtain $500,000 of coverage for a monthly premium of only $110 per month, guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. That's right, level rate guaranteed not to change for the next 20 years. If you're a smoker, we have great rates available for you as well at At TermBusters, we specialize in policies of $500,000 and above. If you're looking for a new or replacement term life insurance, call today for a quote at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. You're probably paying more than you should. Call TermBusters at 1-866-929-1950. That's 1-866-929-1950. Remember, 1-866-929-1950. Rates and availability may vary by state. Sample rate quotes for preferred non-tobacco underwriting. Exam required to qualify.
From local to national, they've got you covered. Every team, every sport, every game. Sports Call with Jordan and Davis starts now on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
So, at this time, and it's never easy to say goodbye, but Jordan Glass here, this was a guy that helped train me, actually, when I first got hired. In traffic reporting, board opping, you name it. Before ESPN became a thing and both of us were hanging out on news radio, you were the one that helped bring me along. And since then, we both have grown a lot. We both have taken on more jobs, new roles. Your role with Cat Country really expanded a lot. In fact, you still have one more week with Cat Country.
Yeah, you can hear me 10 to 2 every midday.
So 10 to 2, at least for one more week. He's going to continue his Cat Country duties for one more week until it's off to Mobile. But Jordan and I really did a lot with each other. We had. You had Sports Call originally on News Radio, and then I had Sports Trend, and I joined you on Sports Call. You joined me on Sports Trend every now and then, and we had our own little mini shows, and then we had an opportunity to start this show together on ESPN and have it be one big 2-hour show. And then, of course, Atlanta, going to the Peach Bowl and covering that with each other. That was always those were always the best times. So, Jordan, I wish you the best of luck at the next stop. I appreciate the times that we've had with each other, and I know you're still going to be fairly local, so this won't be the last time we run into each other.
Oh, no.
And maybe we'll see each other on air with each other again.
You never know, man, and I definitely can tell you this. You'll definitely see me in Mobile at the Senior Bowl next year. I'll be covering that for WNSP. You might see me out at the Peach Bowl for them as well. So you'll still be seeing me at different events throughout the Southeast region that you guys will be covering here that we'll also be covering over there. But, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Sports Call started as a 30-minute show, about 2.5 years ago on News Radio, and now it's seeing it, a 2-hour show on ESPN. I'm leaving it in the good hands of Davis Allen over here, and Justin going to be producing it as well. So yeah, it's bittersweet to be sitting in the studio for the last time, but I got a great opportunity ahead of me, and just thank you to Mary, Dave, everybody here for the opportunities that I had and allowing me to grow as a broadcaster to where I am now.
So for about the next 10 minutes, it's still Sports Call with Jordan and Davis,
That's right.
But as soon as he leaves and walks out the door, you'll be introduced to Sports Call with Davis and Justin. Justin's not just a producer, guys. You hear him on air with us all the time, and he's going to be taking over as my trusty co-host.
Rumor has it, I heard he might do some high school football stuff too.
That's right.
Yeah.
We are going to be doing high school football, and Justin's going to be our color guy.
Look at you. I remember
Look at this guy.
I remember your first day coming in here learning the board, and now you're just taking over stuff.
Yeah, man, I love it. It's I can't believe it's just so surreal what's happened. Thanks. I couldn't have done it without you guys. You guys have done so much for me. And it's just kind of I came in here just wanted to do, sports statistics, I didn't really want to do anything with the journalism part. And then now look at me. I'm comfortable on air. And it's just surreal to think of how much has happened. It's crazy. I couldn't be any more thankful.
So while we still have at least 10 more minutes of Jordan's time, because he will be getting out, we're going to do a little segue segment here where we go from Jordan Davis to Davis and Justin. I'm drafting my fantasy football team tomorrow, and I need help because I've never actually won a championship. I have made it to the championship a couple of times. I have lost a good amount of money thanks to fantasy football. I'm hoping to regain some of that money back at the end of this season. So I figured at this time, let's all pick our perfect fantasy rosters. In fact, at this moment, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my fantasy roster, the blank fantasy template, and we're going to go position by position, and we're each going to share what our dream roster would be. Now, we all know there's no way this is actually going to happen.
Yes.
Right.
But one could dream, right?
I will say this year, my fantasy team this year is actually very close to what I would call my dream team. I have a lot of players on here I'm very pleased with.
All right, so whoever wants to get us led off, we'll start at the quarterback position. I'm the both leagues I'm in ESPN leagues, and we're going to be involved in a snake draft, and also we have a PPR league. I'm all about PPR leagues. I'm big about the PPR leagues. So that's like my ideal go-to. So I'll go ahead and get us started since this is my idea, and I'm the one that really has the most trouble with this, it seems like. So the quarterback position, I look for more than just the guy that's going to throw touchdowns, but I want to look for the guy that can also get a lot of yardage with his legs. I want a guy who's not just a thrower. Cam Newton used to be my go-to in the past, but lately I have been really straying away from him. Russell Wilson was another guy that I really leaned on, ended up being a huge pick for me. Dak Prescott has come through for me in the past, but I don't know if I want to go for any of them. This has always been a very tricky position. Not many people will draft their quarterback first. And, I take a look at all these quarterbacks that we have in front of us. It always is difficult, right? You want to make sure that you do this right. But if I have the opportunity to take Patrick Mahomes number one, I'm taking it. Especially based on last season.
Yeah, Pat Mahomes, that's the only guy I'm taking first. There's no doubt in my mind.
Now, other quarterbacks that if he's not on the board, I can't get him. And I've also heard rumors that you don't want to take him right away. There's a little too much hype there. Be careful. Aaron Rodgers, yeah, but he's one of those guys where is he going to stay healthy? I have no idea. So my perfect quarterback right now is going to be Patrick Mahomes. Now, Christian McCaffrey would be my RB1.
Yep.
And I'd be more than happy to switch him around with Saquon Barkley, RB2. Those would be my two running backs. The wide receiver position, Michael Thomas. Come on. Michael Thomas, the year he had last year with Drew Brees as his quarterback. Drew Brees, by the way, would be, if I could have him as my backup, Drew Brees would be my backup. And then maybe I'd solicit some trades if possible. But at the wide receiver position, Michael Thomas, for sure. Really like him in there. Juju Schuster-Smith would be my other one. Antonio Brown, I'm having a tough time believing in at the moment. He is going to be a top target for David Carr. But Juju Schuster-Smith, I think he can be the next Antonio Brown for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So at the moment, at the next wide receiver position, I have or Smith-Schuster, really. That's what he really goes by. At the tight end position, Rob Gronkowski is gone, so I don't have him to lean on. Travis Kelce, he had a great year for Kansas City, and I like him paired up with Patrick Mahomes. So at the moment, I think I would lean not Zach Ertz. He'd be another guy. But Travis Kelce, I saw his name on my list. Travis Kelce would be the other guy that I would go for. Now for the flex, I love the flex. The flex is so flexible, right? Yeah. I love the flex. I would have a guy like Todd Gurley, although he scared me at the end of the year. If he is available, Alvin Kamara.
I was going to say I would be careful with Todd Gurley because of the arthritic issues that he has in his game.
Okay, so I would say I would amend that then. I would go Alvin Kamara. Running back is traditionally who you want to go
could
for.
Be another guy you could put
I would honestly put Christian McCaffrey at the flex, honestly, because he has good hands. And he showed that at Stanford, and he's showing that here in the NFL. He can go out from the backfield. He can catch the ball.
All right. Now, as my top defenses, defenses are always a toss-up, really. But I think that in this case, I think last year I had the Patriots as my defense, and during the regular season, it didn't really pay off like I hoped it would. They have the Bears as the top defense in ESPN's league right now. ESPN has the Bears slated as the top defense for people to have. And I think I'm going to go with it.
Smart move.
I'd go for the Chicago Bears. Yeah. They have a great defense. Eddie Jackson in the backfield. Oh, my God.
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack, that's who I was thinking of. Khalil Mack, one of the more dominating defensive linemen out there. The Chicago Bears are one of the best defenses for sure. They're going to be the Thursday night game against the Green Bay Packers, so we're going to have an early look at the Bears defense. Also, I've been the idiot that tends to draft defenses within the first 5 rounds. That's not a smart move to do, by the way, but sometimes I try to really lock in my defenses early. So I think I'd go for the Bears. And then the kickers are always interesting. The kickers are always interesting. Greg Zuerlein, Greg the Leg, is one of the more lockdown kickers in the league. He hit that game-winning field goal for the Rams last year in the NFC Championship. It was a 58-yard field goal, and he could have made it from 70 yards, made it right down the middle. But guys, I am never really one to sway away from Justin Tucker of the Baltimore Ravens. For the last 4 seasons, I have drafted Justin Tucker, and I've gotten him a little early just so I can get Justin Tucker. So that rounds out my top fantasy lineup.
You want to take yours?
Yep. So I'm honestly going to go Pat Mahomes as well. And at the running back, I'm going to go Saquon Barkley, and I'm going Alvin Kamara. The flex, I got Christian McCaffrey. And then from a wide receivers, there's 2 or 3 wide receivers, can't remember. Is there 2 or 3?
You have 2 receivers.
2 receivers, yeah.
Some leagues do 3 receivers. But
you can put a receiver at flex if you
want. Then I think, and then you minus a running back, and then you have that flex to work with. Yeah. But my league's 2 receivers.
All right, now I'm gonna go Tyreek Hill, and then Michael Thomas at wide receivers, and then for kicker, Stephen Gostkowski. He's just always been a solid guy. He always just puts up points when we need him to. And then also for defense, I'd have to go to the Rams. And then for my tight end, Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce. All right.
Yeah, I think looking at my team here, the way I drafted it out, I wanted a playmaker at the quarterback position who's also going to be a game manager. So I actually have Jared Goff as my quarterback. I think he's a guy who's going to be solid passing the football. He's going to get good points. Not going to turn the football over a lot. Going to protect it. They're going to score points in L.A. I still think the Rams' offense is going to drop off a little bit. They're still going to be able to score points, though.
On that note, I had Jared Goff last year, and he did produce points for me last year. You know, he's not a guy who's going to run and get out of the pocket as much, but he's a great passer, and he racked up touchdowns for me.
And at the running back position, it's funny because we were actually talking about this at the top of the show. I do have Montgomery from Chicago as one of my running backs. I also have Kenyon Drake. I think Kenyon Drake is going to be a guy. I will probably actually end up moving Kenyon Drake to the flex before the season actually gets underway. But I think Kenyon Drake is a guy that if you're looking for a dark horse flex, I think Kenyon Drake is a guy that you could go to there. The receiver position, I have Amari Cooper and Julio Jones. I think those are 2 solid guys. For the tight end, I went with Evan Ingram. I think whether it's Eli Manning or Daniel Jones, Evan Ingram is going to be a decent tight end there for the Giants in New York. My flex is actually Stephon Diggs from the Vikings, and then my defense is actually the Chicago Bears. So there you go. Yeah.
So that's our perfect fantasy roster. I'm drafting tomorrow. I can guarantee you my roster is not going to look like that. I would be lucky to get 2 of the players that I named. I would very much doubt that. I'd be lucky to get 1. I imagine I'll get 1 if I'm lucky. Now, do y'all draft running backs first or receivers first?
I go receivers.
Or quarterbacks first.
I go receivers. That's how I ended up with Amari Cooper and Julio Jones. So,
I'd rather do a receiver than running back than a quarterback.
See, running backs scare me because the last couple of years, the guy who is slated as the top running back falls off the charts. Like, that guy just doesn't exist, whether it be an injury or production is just down. I would go for, if I had the opportunity to take a number 1 overall pick, and I don't know the draft order yet. I'll know it tomorrow when I get into the draft, when I actually go into the draft room. I will know my draft order then. If I have the number 1 overall pick, if I'm taking the number 1 overall pick in the league, I would lean towards Saquon Barkley. Alvin Kamara is slated as the best pick right now. I think I would take Saquon Barkley or Christian McCaffrey. It would be a juggle. The last time I had the number 1 overall pick, I took Jamal Charles. And then he ended up blowing out his knee. And he was great for me until he blew out his knee. And unfortunately, for a guy who was at one point one of the more dominating running backs in the game, ever since he blew out his knee, never the same guy. It's unfortunate. And that ended up happening. That was my curse with the first overall pick.
Yeah, I think if you look at this, I think it doesn't really matter which way you go, running back or receiver. I would take one of those 2 positions first. And there's going to be so many quarterbacks inside the NFL. And you mentioned Russell Wilson. I think if somebody is looking for a quarterback that is going to be surprising in a league, it's going to be Russell Wilson. A lot of people have Seattle as that dark horse team that's going to come out of nowhere and surprise a lot of people and be in that Super Bowl talk towards the end of the year. So if you want a quarterback and you wait till your later pick to get a quarterback, if Russell Wilson's still on the board, I doubt he still would be on the board at that point. But if he is, take him.
I remember the year I took Dak Prescott, like one of my last picks, because that was when Romo was supposed to come in as the starter, but then we saw Prescott playing really good football during the preseason. I took Dak Prescott as one of my last picks because no one was going to take him. And not only that, his name, we had a cool draft where we actually had a big draft board and we had stickers, and you peel off the sticker and you put in the player that you want. That, like, you had to write in Dak Prescott's name. His name wasn't even a sticker. You had to write it in. It was a blank sticker. So that, and then he ended up leading the Cowboys to the playoffs that year. They went 13-3 that season. They could have done a lot better, but they ended up not. And then Prescott showing life last year. I'm curious to see what he can do, especially Amari Cooper. You said you'd make him one of your receivers. That's a pretty good pick, I think. He's really paired well with Dak Prescott. But at this time, guys, officially, Jordan,
that's it for me.
We sign off for you.
Yes, sir. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you guys for tuning in each and every week, whether it's been Sports Call or Sports Drive or Talk Football. I know Joe is going to do a great job with Sports Drive and Talk Football. These two guys are going to kill it with Sports Call. I'm still going to be in the area. I'm going to be a phone call away, so if you need somebody to come on and talk some college football, give me a phone call. I'm happy to come on any Saturday. Just let me know.
I would expect that to happen.
Yeah,
all right, Jordan. Thank you so much for everything, your service to ADX in general, and especially ESPN Pensacola. We'll miss you, man, but in the meantime, welcome to Sports Call with Davis and Justin. We'll be back right after this timeout. You're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
When Jamie Stevens got out of the Navy in 1968, he opened J&D Cleaners. With his commitment to quality cleaning at fair prices, the business grew to become the best dry cleaners in Santa Rosa County. Jimmy's son, Corey, owns J&D Cleaners now, and he shares the family commitment to excellence. J&D Cleaners has discounts for military uniforms, on-site alterations, and a convenient drive-through window at the Milton location. Trust your clothes to J&D Cleaners on Stewart Street, just north of 90 in Milton, and on Woodbine Road, just south of 5 Points and Pace. It's J&D Cleaners.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh! Dilly dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick. Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Friday nights in the fall are a magical time. It's Friday Night Lights, where new stars are born, where agony meets victory. ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 and sister station News Radio 92.3 AM 1620 brings you all play-by-play coverage during the week's best matchup. We are football. We are Friday Night Lights. This week at 7, here is Scambia versus West Florida on Thursday night, then Pine Forest at Washington on News Radio 92.3 AM 1620.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough, but getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
Well, welcome.
Yep.
Welcome to Sports Call with Davis and Justin, just like that.
Your show.
That's part of the gig in radio is that there's constantly moving parts. People take on new gigs, people, take on new roles within the gig that they already have. And that's part of the game of radio, and it's really the part of the game of life, as I've come to learn. So, Justin, even though you've been here for quite a while, welcome to the co-host role. Yep. You're not just a producer. You are still producing
I am
the
still
show.
Producing.
But and I do that already, by the way, like for other gigs that you produce, you run the board, but then you're also part of the show. Welcome to the official co-host role, and also it's pretty cool having your name be a part of the show.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty cool now.
I've come to learn that.
I love it. Let's get this thing doing. I'm ready to do it.
We also have some other breaking news because starting Monday, as I just said, a lot of moving parts in radio.
Yep.
Sometimes that even involves the station that you're working for. ESPN Pensacola is no longer just 94.5. ESPN Pensacola, starting on Monday, we are going to be expanding to AM 1330 as well as FM 99.1. That's right. When starting Monday, you can still hear us on 94.5. If you're just so used to listening on 94.5, then you can still do that for at least another month or so, give or take. We'll see. But starting Monday, you can also listen to ESPN Pensacola on AM 1330 and FM 99.1. So what does this mean for ESPN Pensacola? It means wherever you are in the Pensacola area, you're going to have that clear signal. You are going to have that perfect, clear signal that's not going to be cutting in and out, even when you're sitting at your home 2 minutes away from our station. Sometimes we've had reports in the past our station's a little difficult to listen to depending on where it is you live, and we hear you. We saw that. We knew that. We wish that wasn't the case. In fact, one of the reasons why that was happening was there was another 94.5 that was competing against us, was beating up our signal a little bit. Well, now starting Monday, you can listen to us. If you're driving to New Orleans, let's just say, and you're on AM 1330, you can get to New Orleans and still listen to ESPN Pensacola. If you're going towards Jacksonville, let's just say, you can listen to us as you're almost to Tallahassee. You're almost to Tallahassee, and you're still listening to ESPN Pensacola. This is the strongest AM signal between here, New Orleans, and Jacksonville. Between Jacksonville and New Orleans, we have the strongest AM signal out there. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible.
If you're listening on 99.1, that formerly WEBY Talk Radio, now ESPN Pensacola, 99.1, has a better sounding signal. That's in my opinion. The quality of the audio sounds better. Yes, can't stretch as far as New Orleans to Tallahassee, let's just say, but 99.1. Very clear still. You can drive around Pensacola, Cantonment, Gulf Breeze. You can still listen to us perfectly clear, especially if you're in this area. So what does this also allow us to do? This allows us to reach out to bigger markets. This allows us to not just be Pensacola Central. We can now talk more about Milton because Milton can hear us more. Yeah. Navarre, we can talk more about Navarre sports. We can talk more about what's going on in Alabama because Alabama is a cesspool of talented athletes. And a lot, like Alabama sports in general. We have Alabama fans here. We have Alabama fans in Mobile. We can reach out to those markets now. ESPN Pensacola is not just Pensacola. We are bigger than that now. Starting Monday, and I cannot wait.
It's incredible. We've been needing it for a while because I remember when I first started here, I'd be like, "Yo, tune in 94.5," and they'd be like, "It's really staticky. I can't hear it." I was like, well, yeah, you don't reach out there yet. We really only reach in the Pensacola area right now. But now that we're coming up on our 1 year of being back on air, we've finally gotten a stronger signal. We changed to a new signal channel, and now we can reach out to just for miles and miles longer now. It's incredible.
So you can now listen to UWF football. You don't have to just be in Pensacola. You can also be further away, and you can listen to UWF football, especially if you're traveling. Blue Wahoos baseball, same thing. Signal is much stronger now, so that way you can listen to Blue Wahoos baseball in more areas than what you probably were used to. Maybe you were even frustrated because where you lived you couldn't pick it up as well, and you wanted to pick it up. It is there now, and not only on 99.1. It's also on 1330. Also, we're still going to be on our website. The stream is still alive and well on the website. And then high school football, same thing. This also allows us to be able to broadcast more high schools for the future. And that starts on Thursday. So it's awesome getting to have this opportunity and be able to bring this to our listeners. And in return, if you maybe wanted to listen to us but you couldn't, so you weren't now, I hope that this can persuade you to start listening again or start listening for the first time. And even tell your friends, hey, check out ESPN 1330 FM 99.1. That's what we are now starting on Monday. And we hope you enjoy it. And the content's still going to be there. We're, in fact, a little teaser. We're adding a couple shows in honor of football season coming along, and you're going to learn more about those on Monday. But in the meantime, very excited for the changes that are coming to ESPN Pensacola. And also very excited for Sports Call with Davis and Justin. So now, with that, announcements aside, it's been, a little bit of a bittersweet show, but also I always feel bittersweet when baseball season comes towards an end because it's baseball season. That's my sport. I know that's your sport. Football. We're also very excited that football season is here. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit more about football after this break. But first, baseball season is coming towards the end. As a Rays fan, I am nervous that we have lost 2 games in a row because the Yankees aren't going to stop winning. That's unfortunate. The Yankees aren't going to stop winning. I'm surprised they haven't already clinched the AL East. They have like a 10-game lead over us in the AL East, but the Rays are still hanging on in the wild card. As a matter of fact, they hold a half-game lead in the second spot of the wild card, which means the Rays have to win tonight, and Oakland needs to lose if we want to pick up some ground. So right now, I'm nervous as a Rays fan.
Yeah.
But also, we're seeing players like Mike Trout, Cody Bellinger. Christian Yelich has kind of slowed down a little bit.
He's slowing down.
He's slowing down a little bit, but he's still very much in the race. At this point, who would you have as your award winners? Because that discussion has officially started now.
Yeah. I mean, for Rookie of the Year, I think it's pretty obvious that Pete Alonso almost has that locked down for the National League. I don't think you can give it to anyone else but Pete Alonso. But for MVP in the American League, it's got to be Mike Trout because all these other guys in the home run race are all National League guys. There's 2 MVPs, one American, one National League. And so that's what happens. And no one else is even near Mike Trout right now, really. I think the closest one is Nelson Cruz, I believe. And Mike Trout, no one else is going to beat him in the home run race, I believe. But Christian Yelich and Cody Bellinger, those are the 2 top favorites again this year. And right now, it seems to be whoever finishes the most home runs is going to win MVP, unless Ronald Acuna of the Braves, he's on 40 for 40 watch, which is 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases. If he can hit that mark, I think he should be MVP because that's a pretty big mark. You're showing a lot of power, you're showing a lot of speed, and it shows a lot. It's a pretty big stat if you reach it.
I will say that this actually news that just came in. Addison Russell, Pace native, he was just recalled. He's going to be going back up to the Cubs. They're sending Albert Almora Jr. down to AAA as a swap. So Addison Russell coming back up to the major leagues. He's really been struggling this season. Also started this season suspended due to situations involving his ex-wife. There's some domestic violence issues there that, of course, none of us condone. But Addison Russell, since his recall, has really struggled, and he was sent down, and he's been brought back up. So, again, I wish him luck moving forward as a baseball player and as a person. But Rookie of the League for National League, Pete Alonso, I think it's hands down that's going to be him, no doubt. There was another one, Fernando Tatis Jr., who has been a lightning rod for the San Diego Padres, and really he's going to be fun to watch as the years go. But he actually is possibly out for the rest of the season.
Yep.
He has suffered a back injury, so he's put on the 10-day injured list. Now, I really don't like how they're doing the injured list thing, but that's neither here or there. That's not what we're talking about right now. Fernando Tatis Jr., he's looking like he's out for the rest of the year, which doesn't really eliminate him from the conversation. But I just think that Pete Alonso, if you're a bomber, that'll really help your cause.
Yeah.
Home runs are exciting no matter what kind of fan you are. Home runs are always very exciting to watch. So Fernando Tatis Jr., he has 22 homers, batting .317. That's a great average to have, 53 RBIs in 84 games. With his injury, I think that this will really hurt him in the race for Rookie of the Year, and I think Pete Alonso has pretty much locked it down.
Yep.
Now, as for MVP is up there, but I'm going to have to we've had this conversation a few weeks ago. I'm going to give it to Cody Bellinger. yes, Christian Yelich is playing some excellent baseball and still is right now, although he's kind of petered off a little bit. I think that they also really like giving the award to new guys, unless it's just that obvious, like no one else is doing anything and Christian Yelich is the only guy really doing something. Cody Bellinger is just ripping the cover off the ball, hitting his 41st home run of the year, along with Mike Trout. I think this one's not a hands-down pick, but I have Cody Bellinger as my MVP of the National League. And then my Cy Young goes to his teammate, Ryu.
Oh, ooh, yeah.
He's been an efficient pitcher this year. This is a guy that really was an okay pitcher, but this year has really been pitching well. Max Scherzer, he's right behind him, but I think this year I would give it to Ryu, starting pitcher of the Dodgers. I think it's really more of a. I don't think it's hands down either, but as of right now, that's who I'd make my pick out to. Now in the American League, did you do your American League picks yet?
No, I have not.
Go ahead.
Wait, you go ahead because I'm actually looking for more Cy Young right now because I completely forgot about the Cy Young award. So
now, okay, so my Rookie of the Year, and as a matter of fact, I'm gonna kind of stall for a second as I look. This guy's name was leaving me here. So he plays for the Houston Astros, and I will give a shout out to the Tampa Bay Rays, Brandon Lau. He was certainly an early candidate for Rookie of the Year, but then he gets injured and he's been out ever since. So that kind of hurt, but he's still in the conversation. But as of right now, rookie Yordan Alvarez for the Houston Astros has really played great baseball. He has been hitting the cover off the ball. He has been a lighter reported name, and I know that because of the home run derby, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was a big name, but he's not hitting as many home runs in the game, and his batting average just isn't there. Yordan Alvarez right now would be my Rookie of the Year for the Houston Astros. My MVP of the league, this one, I would have to give to Mike Trout. He's won it numerous times, twice I should say, but that's numerous times I suppose. But there's really no one else playing the way that Mike Trout is playing in the American League right now. There's not really anyone else that stands out. Yeah, there's some great players out there that are playing good baseball, but Mike Trout's really the only one. This is going to be a runaway. Mike Trout's going to win the MVP.
Yep.
I'm willing to go ahead and say that he will win the MVP right now. And then my Cy Young, I would love to say Charlie Morton of the Tampa Bay Rays. Have it be back-to-back Rays winners. Blake Snell was the winner last year.
But it's hard just because Justin Verlander, his ERA, it's not very far off, but he also has a triumphant amount of more strikeouts than him as well.
Which is why I think Justin Verlander is going to be the Cy Young winner. And shout out to Justin Verlander. When he was pitching for Detroit, that was when he was the Cy Young Award winner. That was when he was the MVP winner. But then right after that, really fell off. Yep. He was almost non-existent, really struggling, and then he gets traded to Houston, and he's been the Justin Verlander of old once again. I think Justin Verlander is going to win the Heisman, the Cy Young Award. Charlie Morton, he actually suffered the loss yesterday for the Rays, so but he was up there in wins. This one, and also Domingo Germán of the New York Yankees, he's going to be the runner-up. He's been a great pitcher for the Yankees this year, Domingo Germán, but I think it's going to be Justin Verlander this year.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, he's also leading best record as well.
Honorable mention to Garrett Cole, teammate of Justin Verlander's for the Houston Astros, also a former number one overall pick.
The Houston rotation, man,
they're strong. And they added Zach Greinke.
That's what I'm saying.
And also, think about a guy who's currently pitching for Atlanta right now, Dallas Keuchel. He was a Cy Young winner for the Astros. At one point, Dallas Keuchel was the ace for the Astros, and today you'd actually never know it.
Yep, you really wouldn't, because the Houston, he really was the one that started this ace rotation over at in Houston. So and now it's just kind of developed into this giant one. He's not a part of it anymore, sadly, but he's kind of the guy who started it all there.
So you ready to give your AL picks?
My AL picks for MVP, it's going to be for MVP is Mike Trout, of course. For Rookie of the Year, how do you say his name again? I forgot how you say his name.
Yordan Alvarez?
Yeah, Yordan Alvarez. And then Cy Young Award winner, it's going to be Justin Verlander.
So we're pretty much the same across the board. The AL, a little bit easier to pick. The Cy Young could be interesting. I think out of all the picks right now, the Cy Young Award is probably the most interesting race in the AL. In the NL, more of a discussion there. Especially we'll especially see how Christian Yelich continues to play as the season progresses. We're getting towards the end, guys, and right now we're going to start seeing those teams lock in their spots in the postseason. It's almost there. October is, we have another month of baseball. Blue Wahoos baseball, they won yesterday. Great game, especially by Bailey Ober, the 6'9" pitcher for the Blue Wahoos. And also, if you look at the roster right now, I wish this roster was here at the beginning of the second half of the season, because right now we're 6.5 games out from Biloxi. It's looking less likely that we're going to be able to punch a postseason spot. Especially if Biloxi wins the first half of the season, or second half of the season, we would need to finish second. So that's what we're chasing for right now. We would need to finish second in the division if we want to have an opportunity at being in the postseason. Right now we're in third, 6.5 games from 500, but I think we were closer to that second place. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. It isn't. But the Wahoos need to continue to win. And even a couple of days ago on Wednesday, I had the opportunity to sit down with former number 1 overall pick Royce Lewis, shortstop for the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. That's on our ESPN Pensacola Facebook page. I encourage you to check that out. It was a great interview, and Royce is one heck of a human being. Very nice guy. So I encourage you to check out that interview we did on Riding the Pine with Royce Lewis. So in the meantime, you're listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin. I need to get used to saying that name.
It's going to be hard, but yeah, you got to get used to it now because it's the new name.
Just like I'm going to have to get used to ESPN 1330, FM 99.1. But for right now, we are still ESPN Pensacola 94.5. And when we come back, winners and losers. That's all coming up on Sports Call with Justin and Davis.
Hi, it's Flint Lockwood here in Swallow Falls. My friends and I have just discovered some amazing living foodimals, but we've also discovered an urgent matter that needs our help. According to my calculations, 1 in 5 kids in America struggles with hunger. Our latest mission is to help solve hunger by teaming up with the Feeding America Network to get food to kids facing hunger in communities across the country.
Help Flint and the Feeding America Network of food banks get food to the people who need it in your community. Find your local Feeding America food bank at feedingamerica.org/hunger.
Together, we're Feeding America.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Bands on the Beach. Every Tuesday night, the sugar white sands of Pensacola Beach turn into your personal dance floor with cool grooves and hot tunes. So grab a towel, grab a chair, grab a cooler, and skip the Netflix binge watching and live a little. Bands on the Beach, brought to you by the Santa Rosa Island Authority.
This Tuesday, it's Crosstown. They've been around a long time, and they play all of your favorites, everything from rock to country and everything in between.
Catch Cat Country every Tuesday night at Bands on the Beach.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Summer vacations have ended. Football season's about to start. Kids are heading back to school. Now it's back to your boring job micromanaging sales reports, right? Wrong. Summer's not over yet. Live the dream. Keep your freedom with the Harley-Davidson of Pensacola Clean the Tent Sales event. If it's got a yellow tag, it's got to go. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola is cleaning out their pre-owned inventory. It's never been easier to own a Harley. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
Closer and closer and closer to the start of football season. And again, the changes are coming here at ESPN Pensacola starting Monday. ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, FM 99.1. But you can still listen to us on 94.5 if you so choose to. You're now listening to Sports Call with Davis and Justin. It's just we have some changes going on. It's a very exciting time. But right now, this part doesn't change. It's time for our winners and losers. Justin, lead us off.
All right, for my winner, you're going to be surprised about this because I dogged on him so much last week. I don't know if y'all saw, but Antonio Brown, after he's been denied, wearing his old helmet. He was on the sideline supporting his teammates during the preseason game versus the Cardinals, and he was showing a lot of good vibes. He's being a team player. He was getting his teammates hyped up, and he was interacting with the fans a lot. He was making a lot of fans' days, giving out stuff. And I would really like to see how he reacted to being denied by the NFL. I really love seeing this from him because he showed a lot of positive vibes, and I'm hoping that he can continue with this and push forward with it. Now, my loser is going to be Harvey Updike. Now, I don't know.
Oh man, Harvey Updike.
I don't know if any of you guys know this name. If you're an Alabama/Auburn fan, it might sound familiar. Harvey Updike, a couple years ago when. It was a while ago, probably about 7 years ago, maybe like 10.
Oh man, it was. I would have to say when Cam Newton was at Auburn, so it was almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago, I want to say, and he also made that famous call into the Paul Feinbaum show to admit what happened.
Yeah, well, let me get to what happened. Harvey Updike, after Auburn had beaten Alabama, this is when Cam Newton was playing. Auburn fans decided to put a Cam Newton jersey on the Bear Bryant statue. Now it's not really it's not terrible. Like we won. They put a jersey on a statue. It's there for 10, 12 hours. Well, Harvey Updike, he took that as an offense. He went and poisoned the trees on Toomer's Corners. These trees have been a tradition at Auburn for 130 years. Those trees have been there since the 1800s. And he went there and he destroyed Auburn's tradition. He killed them. He poisoned the trees, and now they're dead. And now the reason why I'm bringing this up because he's a loser, because he's being sued by the company for not paying his restitution payments after being released from prison for 80 days. He was supposed to pay a fine of $800 in payments. He hasn't been paying his payments. Now he's being sued. But Harvey Updike, you're my loser.
And he would be my loser, but you stole it. But Harvey Updike, a joke. And he, to this day, if you've ever seen Roll Tide, War Eagle, it's like a 30 for 30 on ESPN. Great documentary.
Yep.
It could use some updating now, but I think it showed it.
I think it could use updating about every 5 years.
Yeah, it basically it could really use an update now. So if you watch it today, it's going to be a little dated because it's going to leave off with Auburn and Alabama basically exchanging national titles, especially Cam Newton being there. It's going to seem a little dated now, but they interview Harvey Updike, and he, to this day, denies that he did it. And here's the issue that I'm also having with the state, is that they are fining him $800,000. You're fining a guy who has nothing $800,000, and you're suing him because he's not making the payments. Duh.
Yeah.
He barely could. He even says in the documentary he bought the tickets to the Alabama-Auburn game with money that he really didn't have. He had to put it on a credit card. Like, he wasn't able to just pay cash for those tickets, so you really think that he's going to be able to pay $800,000 in fines? A part of me says, dude, what did you expect?
Yep.
But Harvey Updike will always be a loser. And frankly, I would imagine in the eyes of Alabama fans, you got to look at that and say, man, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you guys hate each other, but you guys have kind of not, ever wanted to just go and destroy the other's tradition. You guys have always respected the tradition. You respected the rivalry. Harvey Updike, you crossed the line. You literally crossed the line to Auburn territory, and you attacked what their tradition is.
All right, so my winner. My winner is, and this has been a thing going on for the last couple of years now, but we're seeing more and more of it this year. Certain schools, especially around the SEC and here in Florida State being another example, these schools are now starting to sell alcohol in the football stadiums. First off, as somebody, let's be real. I'm 25 years old. Yes, I drink alcohol on occasion. And yes, I've been to plenty of game days where alcohol has been a part of it. So, look, I am a supporter of this. I'm also a supporter of being smart with alcohol. If you're going to drink to excess, don't drive. Make sure you have a safe ride. Uber, cab, a friend, have a safe ride. I'm all for that. Or if you're just like the casual drinker that just likes to have a sip or two and just hang out with friends, I'm all for that too. It's all part of the game. I think alcohol does actually play a role in game day. I think it does. So for the schools to now start selling alcohol, by all means, go for it. It's another moneymaker for you. That's business for the supplier of your company. And also, dude, realistically, the students are hammered before and after the game regardless. So if anything, maybe this could help them drink semi-moderate. You never know. Or maybe because they maybe don't want to pay for the alcohol, so maybe they just won't drink during the game. Who knows? But also it caters to the fans that are attending the games that aren't the students. So now, with that being said, Tennessee, the University of Tennessee is one of those SEC schools that is going to start selling alcoholic beverages during their home football games, and this one could not be more hilarious. They are opening their season against BYU, who has a very strict alcohol policy for not just their student athletes, but for all their students. And as a matter of fact, my girlfriend's sister is a track athlete at BYU, and it's an honor code system what they have over there. The honor, you're having to abide by this honor code that, per the rules of the school, you're not allowed to engage in certain activities. And I won't go too deep into it, but part of those activities are you're not allowed to drink alcohol. So I find it humorous in a way that University of Tennessee, they are going to start selling alcoholic beverages during their home games, and the first team that they just so happen to be playing is Brigham Young University. So with that, my loser is I can't really decide if it's the band Slayer or if it's NASCAR. But J.J. Yealy drives the number 54 car for the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series. And the race that is coming up this week is at Bristol Motor Speedway. And side note, thank God that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his family are okay, because they were on a flight on their way to Bristol. It ended up crash landing, plane caught on fire, and somehow, some way, everyone on the plane, including the dog on board, got out safely, fairly unharmed, other than the mental effects that could come with that. So thank goodness they're all okay. Yep. But Slayer was supposed to be like the big sponsor on this car, and they even showed the car with the paint job already done that. If you've seen a NASCAR vehicle, it's loaded with sponsors, but there's always the main sponsor that stands out. Slayer was that sponsor. Well, as of yesterday, due to reactionary concerns from other longtime participating sponsors, Slayer has been pulled as the primary sponsor, this being reported to by the band. Like the band, or being reported from the band. The band even said, yep, due to other sponsors having an issue with this, we have to pull out. We're being forced to pull out as the primary sponsor, and instead, the primary sponsor for J.J. Yealy's number 54 car is going to be Pods. So I guess my loser is Slayer. Sorry, Slayer. I guess you couldn't be put on the NASCAR.
Well, I don't know if we haven't really mentioned this. We don't usually mention NASCAR a lot on here, but since we just have Dale Earnhardt yesterday getting in a plane crash with his family. Did you hear about that?
Well, yeah, I had just mentioned that.
Okay.
And it happened earlier in the week, but still, it's a very scary incident where he lands on the runway. Apparently, the plane bounced and fell off the runway,
twice, and then they collapsed.
And I've been on I've been on numerous plane rides. Well, I remember. Well, I was going into. Ironically enough, I was going into Knoxville.
Ooh.
And I was going into Knoxville because I was going to my buddy's wedding nearby Knoxville in Morristown. And the plane, I noticed we were getting over the runway, and I was like, dude, we aren't why aren't we on the runway yet? We've been skimming across the runway now for a little while without actually touchdowning. And all of a sudden the plane just dropped and then boom, boom, and did a couple of bounces. Yeah. And we came to a safe stop. But that was one of my more scarier moments on a plane, was that it took us a long time to finally land, because we were flying approaching. We're over the runway. We haven't touched down yet. We're still going over the runway. I was like, dude, we're going to run out of space here. We better land. And then the plane just drops and then bounces twice. And then we managed to come to a safe stop. But that was my scary moment. But something like that happened with Dale Earnhardt's plane, except this plane bounced off the runway and then crashed, caught on fire. And thankfully, again, everyone managed to get out.
Yep, that's good.
So when we come back from this timeout, we're going to give you a couple of our game predictions, because we do have some NFL preseason. We'll also predict some of the Little League World Series games that are going to be going on. And then also, we're going to give you our quick hits. Those are the stories that we did not get an opportunity to touch on throughout the show. That's all coming up and more on Sports Call with Davis and Justin on ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Now there's more fun for everyone at IP. The beautiful Bayview Cafe is here, open 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can dine anytime. And meet up with friends for wine tasting at 850 Wine and Spirits. Plus, if you love sports, IP Sportsbook is where the action is, and now taking wagers. Better up.
IP Casino Resort and Spa is fun for everyone.
ESPN Pensacola 945 is locally owned by the ADX Communications Group. That includes News Radio 92.3 and AM 1620, Cat Country 98.7 and 1330 WEBY 99.1 FM. This means that we have the staff, the experience, and the generators to get you through the storm before, during, and after. We care, and we're ready because we're local. ESPN Pensacola 94.5.
Around the clock, Redwire is working for you. As security experts, they're committed to 24/7 customer service and professional installation to secure your business and home. Redwire operates a nationally recognized monitoring center here in the Florida Panhandle, where their trained specialists use innovative technology to ensure fast response times whenever you need them. If you are looking for affordable security, look no further than your own backyard. Redwire, real expert security.
Pensacola is loaded with famous athletes, and when it comes to seeing a chiropractor for their sports injuries, there is one team they trust, Doctors Edwin Roberts. A family tradition for 3 generations, Doctors Edwin Roberts Chiropractic, next to Legendary Fitness on Mobile Highway, has helped champion athletes like Emmett Smith and Trent Richardson. Doctors Roberts specialize in relieving auto accident pain to physicals for the student athlete. The best treatment for sports injuries is prevention. Call 912-4155 for a free consultation and change your life forever.
America's veterans are more than a source of pride. They're a source of strength. When our veterans thrive, our communities thrive. With your support, our veterans can get career and education opportunities as well as benefits they've earned.
Hello, I'm Senator Marco Rubio. Join me in thanking our nation's veterans. They've given so much. Find out how you can support veterans in our community.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
ESPN Pensacola 94.5. You're listening to I'm Talk Football Sports Drive. Stephen A. Smith Show. You're listening to all of. You can listen to all of that, but this is Sports Call with Davis and Justin, and this is the part of the show where we do our quick hits. We talk about the stories that we did not get a chance to talk about during the show, and I'll go ahead and get us started. Florida State finally, as the season approaches, Saturday, man, Saturday, Florida-Miami. That's coming up, but Florida State received word that their transfer quarterback, Jordan Travis, is cleared to play for the Florida State Seminoles this season. They're going to be opening up their season on the 31st against Boise State, and that's going to be in Jacksonville. Now, this is pretty big for Florida State because right now we're trying to figure out who's going to be their starting quarterback. You have Alex Hornerbrook. He's the grad transfer from Wisconsin who saw success while at Wisconsin. But then you have the experienced quarterback out of James Blackman. He understands the system a little bit more. He played a little bit last season, started many games the season before as a true freshman. And even James Blackman was going to transfer. He was in the transfer portal. And then when DeAndre Francois was kicked off the team, and by the way, DeAndre Francois, in case you didn't know, he is now at Florida Atlantic. He ended up staying because he has an opportunity now to compete as the starting quarterback. So Jordan Travis he's a transfer from Louisville. He played last season for Louisville. It took a long time too for the NCAA to finally announce that he is cleared to play. He's good to go, and this is significant because this also joins the likes of the quarterback Justin Fields over at Ohio State. He played a significant amount of time at Georgia, but was granted immediate eligibility. And then also Tate Martell of Miami. Same thing. He played some at Ohio State last season. He was granted immediate eligibility to go play at the University of Miami. And then the funny thing about it all is that he's not even going to be the starting quarterback. Jared Williams was announced as the starting quarterback for the University of Miami. And now Tate Martell just might play wide receiver. We'll see. But in the meantime, FSU does expect to have Jordan Travis to be suited up and on the field. Is he going to be the starter? I'm not sure, but that is my quick hit for Sports Call.
All right, man, that's great. So I want to talk about Ohio State real quick. So when fall training starts, they've been doing this for about 3-4 years now. When fall training starts, the freshmen that come and that play for them, they have to earn their way. They have to find some. They have to do something to earn their way. Now, they have stripes on their helmets. And it's these red stripes. And freshmen, what they have to do, they have to put black tape over their helmets covering that red stripe. They have to earn their way off. They have to earn their way to get that stripe off to show that they deserve to be on this team. And it's called the Stripe Alert. It's the Ohio State Stripe Alert. And after every practice, they announce a new player. And the player, they come up, they clap for him. He gives a little speech, thanking everybody. It's about 20, 30 seconds. And they say, "Go Bucks, let's go." And yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. It gives freshmen something to look forward to, something that they work hard to, and really just persevere and get out there and try and get.
I always like those incentives too. You know, you go out here, you are not actually a part of this team until you're able to do this. Like, you're not going to be recognized until you can do this. So I always appreciate those incentives. It makes you work that much extra harder to be a part of the team and earn your spot on the team, because even a scholarship athlete can get cut. That's important to keep in mind. So now at this time, we always like to end the show with our game day predictions, and the NFL preseason Week 2 continues on. And I'm excited to see this matchup because I'm curious to see what this team will do this year. At 3 o'clock, the Cleveland Browns are going to be taking on the Indianapolis Colts. Who do you got?
Browns.
I got the Browns, man. I'm excited. I also want to see what Sheehy Giuseppe can do. Damon Sheehy Giuseppe, really interesting story. The Patriots and Titans.
Patriots.
I'll give it to the Titans because, I don't expect to see a whole lot of people, and don't expect to see Josh Gordon. You might see him the next week, but not this week for sure. Kansas City and Pittsburgh.
Kansas City.
I like Pittsburgh.
All right.
Detroit, Houston.
Houston. That's a tough.
I'm going to go Houston, too. It's at Houston also. Again, it's preseason, guys, so a lot of this is just toss-ups. How about Dallas against Los Angeles, though? This could be a fun one. Also, Dallas, Los Angeles, this game's being played in Honolulu.
Ooh, that's cool.
They're playing this game at Aloha Stadium. They're in Hawaii right now, so Dallas against Los Angeles. Who do you got?
Dallas.
I'm a fan of this kind of game, because it's not every day that the Pro Bowl used to be played in Honolulu, not anymore. So now they're playing a preseason game there, so that's always really cool. I'll go ahead and give it to the Los Angeles Rams. Tomorrow, the New Orleans Saints taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Who do you got?
You said Saints and Chargers?
Yeah.
Give it to the Saints.
I'll give it to the Saints, too. We'll see. Drew Brees making a San Diego homecoming. Don't know if he's going to play, though. And then Seattle, they're going to be taking on Minnesota.
Seattle.
Seattle?
Yep.
I'll take Minnesota. Monday night, there's actually a matchup between San Francisco and Denver. Who do you got?
San Francisco.
I'll take San Francisco, too. Jimmy Garoppolo, I want to know what he can do. Real quick, Little League World Series. Whoever loses today in the Little League World Series is actually eliminated. Right now, we have Australia against Venezuela. Who do you got?
Venezuela.
I'll take Venezuela as well. Kentucky against Rhode Island.
Oh, Kentucky's good.
Kentucky. Canada or Italy? Canada. And Louisiana and Oregon?
Louisiana.
I'll take Oregon. Why the hell not? That's going to do it for us. Enjoy your Saturday. Enjoy your Sunday. And we'll see you again next week.
All sports, all the time. ESPN Pensacola, 94.5 WYCT Pensacola.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown. Chargers safety Derwin James will miss most, if not all, of the regular season after surgery next week for a stress fracture in his right foot. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports James will be out 3 to 4 months. 40-year-old quarterback Josh McCown is postponing his retirement for now. He'll sign a one-year, $2 million guaranteed deal with the Eagles. This will be McCown's 17th NFL season and his 11th different team. Point guard De'Aaron Fox withdraws from Team USA. That leaves 13 players on the roster. One cut will need to be made. Greg Popovich made his debut as new coach of the team in a 90-81 exhibition win over Spain last night.
Good chance to jump in the fray and see what this is all about. So it was like a baptism for us. New group, players, coaches, all that sort of thing. So it was a real experience.
Popovich is getting his team ready for the FIBA World Cup in China, which starts in 2 weeks. The baseball, Braves outfielder Ender Inciarte goes on the injured list with a right hamstring strain. On the scoreboard in a game on other ESPN radio outlets and the ESPN app, third inning in New York, the Indians lead the Yankees 2-1. Second inning in Pittsburgh, the Cubs and Pirates are scoreless. The Little League World Series continues today with 4 elimination games, 2 in the U.S. pool and 2 in the international pool. Right now on ESPN, fourth inning, Venezuela leads Australia 1-0.
2001 Miami, 05 Texas, any of these recent Alabama or Clemson teams, who's the best team in college football history? That and more Monday. The Will Cain Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and ESPN News.
Talk football every day at noon with Pensacola's own legendary Coach K on your radio, on Facebook, and on YouTube at ESPN Pensacola 945.
Welcome to the Sporting Life with Jeremy Schaap. Over the next hour, tennis analyst Mary Carrillo explains why she stands behind her criticisms of Serena Williams' behavior at last year's U.S. Open.
I don't like bullies, Jeremy. I don't like bullies. And I thought she was acting like a bully. Bullies have caused every problem in the history of our planet. And I thought that Serena was trying to bully the chair, and he didn't take it.
Plus, Raiders preseason play-by-play broadcaster Beth Mowins discusses the challenges facing John Gruden in his return to the NFL.
I think everybody was frustrated with the record last year, and you can give these guys tough love and sprinkle in something for the younger guys to make them feel appreciated and help them to understand, how much you do care about them.
This is The Sporting Life on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Here's Jeremy Schaap.
Welcome to another edition of The Sporting Life. Later in the show, we'll be speaking to two of the most prominent broadcasters in the sports TV industry, Beth Mowins of CBS Sports and ESPN, and Mary Carrillo of HBO, NBC Sports, and the Tennis Channel. We'll be talking about the state of tennis with Mary, but before we get to that, we'll talk about a little recent tennis history with our own Don Van Natta Jr., his new series, Backstory. It premieres Sunday on ABC at 1 o'clock Eastern Time with the first of 5 episodes of this first season. The first episode, Serena versus the umpire. And it is a pleasure to welcome to our show again, Don Van Natta Jr.
Thank you, Jeremy. Great to see you.
Don, I'm really excited about the show and the series in general. What is the story you're telling here about Serena and what happened in the U.S. Open women's final in 2018?
Well, last year's women's final, if you remember, Serena was going for history. She was trying to tie Margaret Court's record of 24 singles titles. And
she's been trying for a while.
But we all felt going into that she was going to win. This was going to be a coronation. She was going against a 20-year-old Naomi Osaka, which people really had some doubts about whether she had any chance to beat Serena. Serena was her idol. And as we all can recall, a year later, the clash that occurred between Serena Williams and the chair umpire, Carlos Ramos of Portugal, basically became a story much bigger than tennis. It was about gender. It was about race. There were, divided friends and families. And so we decided to go back, slow everything down, because as you know, in the world today, people make judgments instantly, 140 characters. And that's what happened here. And we really wanted to slow everything down, Zapruder film, like almost show each of the 3 code violations that were called by Ramos against Serena Williams, see why they happened, what happened behind the scenes, and then also dig deeply into the aftermath.
Well, it's interesting because I think we were speaking when you decided this would be one of the topics for the series. And the other topics, they were a little bit more in our rearview mirror. They weren't quite as recent. And there were some more obvious unknowns with some of the other things we were talking about, like, for instance, the Manti Te'o situation from almost 7 years ago now. How does the Serena story with Carlos Ramos fit into the context of what the conceit is for the series?
Well, it really is trying to explore the story behind the story. And so my goal as a reporter—
Hence the title—
Backstory. Exactly. And the backstory.
I did say backstory at some point in the intro, didn't I?
But every backstory of any story that you've done in your career, Jeremy, or that I've done is always more interesting. The story